Yeah, so we're back. I was gonna like schedule a podcast with somebody else actually, but instead that guy canceled, and now we got the great at Bodhisattva 4 from Twitter, Bodhi. And a lot of you might know him actually because he has a very similar vibe to me. So we're definitely gonna talk about all those shit all your other gay ass gurus are not gonna talk about, but we are. And so I'm just gonna let my main man gonna introduce himself here. So Bodhi, go ahead, man.
Hey, what's up, my family? So, yeah, I've known Fury for a long ass time on Twitter, and we vibe because we're sort of counterculture, and we connect on things that don't connect with other people. You know, other people are all into like it's sort of like I don't know. One thing that encapsulates it is sort of like the tell your story meme, right? Because in today's culture, and there's something to that because it's a case by case basis. For some people, it works, but it's not immediately obvious to me that that's the way that's the Tao flow for everyone, right? Like you have Jim Rohn, and if you've ever listened to him, like I love that guy. He
Yeah, great
speaks
guy.
really well.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's like, his deliverability, everything awesome. But one of the things he said that I have a contention with is he's like, a photo album is your greatest gift. A photo album is your greatest gift. And I can see
Hmm.
that working for some people. I
Yep.
really could. But when I look back to my teens,
Yeah.
and I'm in my early 30s now, when I look back to my early
Uh-huh.
teens and think of the women and the men, the most attractive, most influential, most charismatic, good looking, socially adept. Like I ran into one of these guys recently, 6'4", jacked, much
Hmm.
gravitas, and he's on zero social media. He's on nothing.
Yeah.
And he would eat your shit. He would eat 99% of the Twitter family
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not immediately obvious to me that flowing with the culture and the zeitgeist is the best way to go. And I think that's where Fury and I really click.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, that's definitely where you fit in, I guess, because how do I say this? Like you mentioned before I started recording that I really fit in with like the Twitter people, so I got like rep with them, like street cred.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You really do.
then I found you, like what I did also with, if you guys know the author of Sanction. I tend to have orbiters, not from a like gay ass aspect, but I feel the vibe of this because I saw Bodhi before he even had like a cool banner and his AV was different. I just spotted it. I was like, hey, this guy, he's like, he knows more about the things that I, like a jack of all trades, know, like Zen, Buddhism, Bushido, honor, all those things. I just dabbled in them actually, and I just picked from them. I'm not really like not knowledgeable about it because I never picked up one full book on Zen or anything. I just like, I just live it and just think about it and just go along with the flow. But then I saw Bodhi, and he definitely clicked on those aspects that he just mentioned. Now it's amazing to to vibe with him. It's stunning.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, so I just wrote down.
What are you drinking over there?
Oh yeah, we can share it with the crowd. Like Knob Creek, it's called.
Knob Creek. Knob Creek. I was gonna get that. But instead I got this
What you get? Oh,
Buffalo
Buffalo.
Trace.
You got the Buffalo Trace. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Buffalo Trace. I
Yeah.
forgot who mentioned it, but someone mentioned it recently,
Uh,
so I
So
got
I'm
it.
gonna like equate Roman for that. Roman Astro. He loves Buffalo Trace. I don't know if it was him, but he loves that one. So shout out to him.
Roman McClay,
No, Roman Astro is the he makes
the
like
opium
the
guy.
paintings. Yeah, the opium
Yeah,
tills.
yeah,
So apparently
okay.
we're plugging random dudes, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I love Roman McClay. That dude's a fucking genius, man.
yeah. Maybe I need to get him on the podcast.
You should. That'll be a formidable podcast, though. Like
Yeah.
I read like 100 pages of Sanction, then I had to stop because it was like overwhelming my mind.
Uh, Actually, I think I'm maybe gonna do it when I read more of Sanction because I'm in Sanction 2. I'm like a character in
Okay.
that, and I know
Yeah, yeah. I heard
it's the
about that.
highest honor. I think it's almost like it's like mythology come true. Like you have this guy, he has this idea, then I'm in a book. No, then he makes a book. I'm in that book. It's so strange. It would be something very
Yeah,
magical.
yeah. That'd be dope, man. You should do that.
So earlier you mentioned the word Dao flow. You know, you use
Yeah.
it almost in your daily EDC lexicon, but can you enlighten the audience what that is for you?
Okay. Well, Dow flow, or Tao flow, as many people have told me before, but it's really Tao flow, is flowing with the yin and yang and the totality and the wholeness of the universe. Because if you look at the Upanishads and Hindu lore, Buddhistic lore, which all intertwine and meet and branch off, like Buddhism started in India and then it moved into the more practical soil of China, where it became more practical instead of the soaring imagination of like Mahayanistic Buddhism in India. And then as it migrated toward Japan, it moved to Zen, which is more practical, but they work in all the ages because they worked for the culture and the specific time. Like for me, I'm half Japanese, so I tend to gravitate towards that because that's where my genetic code lies for half of my blood. But Zen Buddhism in Japan is more enlightenment in the moment. Like you'll have stories, you'll have like little anecdotes where the master opens the gate and then the student's like, hey, let me come in, I want to come in, please, and then the master's like, get the fuck out of here, faggot. And then the guy's like please, and he stands out in the snow for like 2 weeks or like something like a month, no food, no water, freezing, which, you know, obviously is hyperbolistic, but whatever. And then he comes back and he's like, all right, come in. And then he like slams the gate on him as he's going in, and the guy like loses his arm. And then he's like, now you're ready. And that's the type of thing that is adherent to Zen Buddhism, which is really like in the moment, boom, bam, enlightenment through an immediate action. But Tao flow could be that. Tao flow is more broad than that, but it's more, the way I see it is a good concept to coin is upaya, because upaya is the concept of flowing with the river of one's life, and that's sort of analogous. It's sort of tantamount to Tao flow. Tao flow, upaya, you know, they're these rivermen, these ferrymen in India, and they know how to navigate the whirlpools and eddies and everything in their river. So they take these long ass sticks and they go against the bank, and then they flow perfectly through the waves and the flow of whatever the river is doing.
Oh, that's cool.
And that is upaya. That's Tao flow to me, because you're not swimming against the current like 98+% of the people. You're going with the flow. And a lot of the nuance people don't understand in this current culture of be happy, like flow with the crowd, be with the culture, be with your in-group. It's like a lot of the time that makes you swim against the current though. It doesn't help you. Upaya is embracing the totality, yin yang, positive, negative, and integrating all that so you become a whole being. I think that's sort of what my definition of Tao flow is.
Thanks, man. Because you just gave in a nutshell what I see, almost like an overarching theme coupled with little motives in your whole Twitter feed. Comes back a lot. So people to get you and me is they have to get what Tao flow is. And maybe for the more simplistic simpletons, especially these fucking retards who take my fucking tweets literally. For example, yesterday I tweeted, one should not wrestle with a tiger. People yo, I could wrestle these motherfucker all days. It's actually an analogy. I'm I had to tweet it under it, yo, don't take my shit literally, and these philosophical accounts don't take it literally. You can't wrestle a tiger means something that's too big for you, so that's a gift of you and me. I can see that the spirituality, philosophical shit in life, but people can't. They're so autistic. That's so fucking strange. I categorize myself as an artist, but these other people are so fucking literal. Fuck's sake.
You're not autistic, bro.
Yeah, but
you're on the spectrum. You're maybe an inch to the left on a 10-inch scale.
No, for sure. It's hilarious always with the women. But I think the Tao flow, coming back to a more practical way in life, what I want to share is frictionless relationships. I try to either discard or attract, and if there's any friction, just let go. What's your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think if there is a lot of value and you've built together for a long time, whether it be erotic or platonic or
Hmm.
familial, then you deserve then there friction is bound to come up because we're flawed human beings.
Sure.
We're dumb. We don't know shit. So
Hmm.
friction, it's worth it in the case of where there already is a ground of mutual respect, and each other's values,
Hmm.
and you can vibe and feed off each other and grow. But if
Yeah.
it's somebody who off the jump is discarding you, then of course I would say discard them back.
Yeah. Of course. There's some nuance there, I guess, what you just described, especially with the history. There's like an yeah ingrained loyalty, almost. I think.
It's lost in this culture, man. It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad, in this current culture.
Hmm.
It's all instant gratification. Me is no honor, value, loyalty at all. And people like to front. They like to act like they have it, but they really don't. They really
Yeah.
don't. They're the base, animalistic
Hmm.
instincts are driving them. I
Hmm.
mean, it drives all of us, but the samurai with the Bushido code, they harnessed it.
Yeah.
They harnessed it. They didn't let it control them, and they were like loyal. And you could wax philosophical on like, oh well, it was the feudal lords, and they were cocksucking the feudal lord. Well, it's
Yeah.
like, well, would you have picked up a samurai sword and marched into certain death
Yeah.
in a battle? Would you have done that? Would you commit seppuku or harakiri?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't, faggot. So it's like, all right, so why are you even talking about that? It's like they're greater laws, and like the honor and the loyalty,
Yeah.
integrity, truth stand above all
Yeah.
these surface layer little,
Hmm.
like little just waxing philosophical, like all these midwits on Twitter talking bullshit and using 20-cent words that they don't even fucking understand. It's so pathetic.
Yeah. I want to tie into that. Like, since we're talking philosophy, a big one that I've read about a lot is Stoicism. And we're not going to talk about Stoicism, but the current zeitgeist, especially with the lockdowns and the COVID scares and the anxiety pressing up on people, is the perfect opportunity to cultivate a Zen or Stoic mind. Zen in the sense you're chill as fuck, or Stoic in this purest definition that you can only control what you can control, and that which you cannot, you must let go. And this is the perfect opportunity for all these motherfucking Twitter Stoic gurus with that fucking stone face in their fucking AV to like man up. But I even spot amongst these, I'm not gonna shout out names, but and even amongst my friends, I sensed yellowness, sheer pussiness in the face of like when this thing was just coming up. And yeah, yeah, they lost some points, on me. And I was like, yo, bro, this was the perfect time
Yeah.
for you to be stoic instead of talking stoic.
Mm. I hear that, but I totally agree, in 100% agreement.
So yeah, usually I ask the first question: what kind of books do people give? Have you ever gifted books to people?
I can't remember. I think the last
Mhm.
book I gave was to a chick in this class, in my English class. I
Hmm.
haven't gifted a book in a long time, but I
Okay, for
gifted
sure.
her. I gifted her
That's interesting.
"How to Write" by some. It was. I forget her name. Is Uma something. It was like she was like this really extraordinary woman who was like a
Okay.
90-year-old. She won the 85 plus or 90 plus um, world freestyle swimming record, I believe, in her age group.
Oh,
In addition
wait,
to being,
yeah. Uh-huh.
you know her,
I do know an old woman that was like a free. She set these like world records. She I don't know. She crossed the canal or something. Maybe it's her. I don't know. Not for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to. It'll probably pop in my mind later, but
Okay.
I think her first name was Uma. But it was like
Yeah.
how to write, and it was always in the family library because my father hoards books, and he has like there's a shitload of books, so I was always surrounded by that. But not that I read a whole lot until
Yeah.
my 20s, really. But I know that was held in high regard by a lot of esteemed authors.
Yeah.
So I think it was called How to Write or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, sounds dope. Like maybe you can look it up and then we'll put it like in the bio for the fans, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we talked, like in the beginning of this podcast, we were like shit talking. You talked a little bit about your upbringing. So not so you don't have to share anything that you want as to doxing, but can you share us a little bit about what you said that you went to a not typical type of school? You said like prep school or something.
Yeah,
like that? Can you share us a
yeah.
little
No,
bit
I don't
about
have
your?
any problem. I don't have any problem sharing that part. You know, I went to a really small prep school in New England for young men. When I was 15, I went there. I was only there for a year, but it was like 150 people, all elite. Not in the sense of like they were smart, because I was in the high honors class, even though I was poor, and they were all like, you know, they're all trust fund babies and the sons of CEOs and shit like that. So
Yeah.
well, I hit it off with this one kid who was actually in one of the retard classes.
Yeah.
But you know, he was very charismatic. You know, he just had ADD. He was probably high off coke and Ritalin or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they have
And I went to his mansion. I chilled with him in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is like an exclusive gated community in Connecticut, if you didn't know, on the coastal.
Okay.
And you know, this guy, he's showing me like he's 19. He's showing me his like, it was like 2008. He's showing me his like 2009 bright orange BMW sports car and shit like that. It's like, you know, it wasn't earned, but he still had massive swag because he emulated his father, who created that. Yeah. And was a hedge fund manager, and was like a beast, started multiple sports at a D1 college, Ivy League college nonetheless. And you know, I saw how that spiraled to hedonism and lack of control, lack of purpose. I looked him up recently on socials and LinkedIn, and he just looks like dead in the face, like he hates life. His father probably feels like a failure. Yeah, you know,
he's the male equivalent of the 1,000 cock stare.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess it is. It could be something like that. And you know, and that's why I sort of, and it may, like I told you, you know, it may be just like projection on my part. Like that's only one experience out of 7 billion people. That's my experience with one dude in one prep school. But I bring that into every interaction, so that when I see these dudes on Twitter that are making like 100,000 a year, or have like 1 million net worth, or are strivers and improvers, IMPROOVR, like, and they're talking all this shit, like, oh, unless you're high up in the hierarchy, you're gonna lose. Like, unless you're making mad money, you're gonna lose. I'm like, no, you're not. That's not the case at all. Like, it's actually fulfillment, connection, having a purpose. That's actually it, dumbass.
It's actually it. Yeah.
You know, and this guy is probably worth like 50, 100 plus million. Yeah. You're talking shit like you know about money. No, you don't, because I've hung out with guys, not just him, but guys like that in my time at that school, where they show people respect. They're nice. They're kind. Like, you got to be a dick to get bitches and like make money. It's like, no, that's not true at all. There's a lot of room for nuance that I feel that it's not flashy and it's not going to get as much views, but I'm gonna put it out there because nobody else is. Yeah, for sure. That's the reason you were brought on the show, and in general why we vibed. You know, this nuance, this gray zone. You know, I haven't marked down this like gray concept that we're gonna talk about. It's my favorite concept. But for now, like, I want to like zoom in what you said about, it's not just about money. It's about your purpose and fulfillment here on this planet Earth. I have a lot to say about that shit. People know me, but can you enlighten me on that aspect a little bit? I'm sorry, which aspect? That people are not here for money, so to say, but more so fulfillment and purpose, coupled with, being of service to other human beings. You know, that basically when you're old and dead and you're on your deathbed, nobody thinks I should have earned more money and should have worked harder. You know, what's your take on that? Exactly. I think people forget that it's like Jordan Peterson said, which a lot of people here are familiar with. You're a node in a network, and the nature of that network is exponential. You're a node 1. You know 1,000 people. 1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000. So you're 2 relationships away from 1,000,000. So everything you say holds weight, and the only way to have true purpose is to spit your shit from the heart, from true integrity, true virtue, true soul, instead of trying to fit in with the culture. Be counterculture and put in your heart, put in your soul, instead of being like, oh my God, I get bitches because I'm dark triad. It's like what? Like, just be real. Just be real. Keep it real. You know, whenever I landed dates with cute chicks and shit of that nature, I was not trying to be dark triad. I integrated a little bit of that maybe, but I was just flowing with it, and I was being spontaneous. And these young kids will have you believe that you have to be like fucking Darth Vader. It's like, no. It's like, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's like everything, when you move from the heart, everything flows, and it's just endemic to the culture, because our culture today is so fake. It's so fake. It's so Tinder, text, you know, subscribe to the culture, subscribe to mass media, to the zeitgeist, to eating soy, you know, to the, you know, listening to all these soy millennials talk about fucking, you know, banging dudes and eating soy. It's like, you know, it's terrible. It's terrible. Imagine if you were living in like 1425 Japan, you know, as opposed to 5% of people being real, it would be like 95% of people being real.
That would be dope as fuck. Like, just to, I don't know, like for people out there to know about me, I have like tendencies to rage quit. And I have these places in my mind where I would just go and vanish in the fucking woods. And Japan is one of those places. I will like take like my fucking manga and anime books with me, like, and I will learn Japanese, but I would just disappear. Like, what's that movie? Like Wolverine in the second movie. It's called Wolverine. Oh yeah, the Wolverine, and just swoop one of like these Japanese babes, empty the fucking clip in there, like disappear, delete all my shit, and then like fuck
delete it all.
Yeah, like, because then I will fulfill my true calling, you know, and just live off the fat of the land. I won't give a fuck about this shit, you know.
There it is, man. There it is.
I want to zoom in. Oh shit. No. Actually, I wrote down 2 questions. You mentioned Jordan Peterson, and it's not a knock on the guy, so people can know this, like a disclaimer. I respect his body of work, but specifically his verbosity, his immense capacity to string along all these fucking concepts across the Western and perhaps like Eastern canon, and make it sound so eloquent and true at the same time. So there's a lot of value in what he says. But I cannot escape the fact that I saw his fucking daughter, Michaela Pedersen, on Twitter with Tate. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. You know, like a little bit glitz and glamour for this podcast. What the fuck do you know? Do you hold it against Peterson that he didn't raise his daughter well, or what do you think?
No. I think it's actually right in line with all of his teachings. Like, the strong man gets the girl. Tate is undoubtedly a strong man. You know, you don't fight professional kickboxing and win a shitload and have a huge winning record for nothing, and talk mad shit and be 6'4" and jack, and make a lot of money. You know, she should be doing that because she evolved to do that, and he's probably more of a man than her husband, to be honest. So that's why there's no other reason why she would do that. And Peterson talks about, you know, you have to be dangerous, you have to be have the ability to you know, protect and act if you must. Act if you must. You have to awaken the evil in you. And it can go both ways. You know, I remember one time he was talking about, I think this was in Canada, where there was this guy who had the upper hand on 2 policemen, 2 state policemen in some highway in Canada. He had a gun and he killed them to death. And like, one of the policemen was begging for his life. He was like, please don't shoot me. You know, I have a family, I have a daughter, please. And he just like capped him. And now and that was like one of Peterson's case studies as he was coming up as a psychologist. And he was like, you know, that's where evil could lead you. You know, Gulag Archipelago is where evil could lead you.
Yeah.
Socialism is where evil could lead you.
Yeah, it's actually true.
You know,
Well,
so,
no, I'm gonna like zoom in on that one later. But go on, finish the Peterson aspect.
and you know, that's evil, but like I wouldn't say Tate is evil. I'd say the ability to harness evil, and that's why, you know, Michaela was into him.
Yeah.
But that to me, that's right in line with what he teaches.
Yeah,
it's not
it's interesting as fuck. Yeah. Like that, I just want to, like, out of curiosity, hear what you had to say about that. But so basically, in a sense, he prophesized this, you know, from an archetypical point of view. His daughter fits into certain
Prophesized it.
Yeah,
Completely.
So that's interesting as fuck, actually. Yeah. So, okay, moving on. You mentioned the word soul. What do you mean by the soul? What is the soul for you? You know, for the dumb ass motherfucker here. You know, enlighten us.
The soul. Well, the soul is it's ineffable. You know, you can't really put a finger on it. There's a je ne sais quoi to it. You can't. It's unexplainable. To me, I don't think anyone knows the true definition of a soul.
Of course.
At all. You know, if you're saying that, you're fronting. You don't know. Like, when you die, where do you go? Do you know? Is it nothing? Is it something? Is it ground of being? Nobody knows. And even if they were on point in the abstraction is on orders of millions, far from the truth. So to me, the soul is, from my current understanding, we all come from a ground of love and a ground of totality of being. And the totality of being fractures into, it dichotomizes into the world of gross matter. And once you're in the world of gross matter, in order to have any sort of play and giving and go, and to experience and have sort of free will and be able to be moved by the hands of fate, you have to have choices. You have to have opposites to be able to express and learn and fail and succeed and grow. I think the whole point of it is growth. I could be wrong, but a lot of really smart people agree with me there. The point of it is growth, and you can't have that without the contrast. So through the contrast, you get closer and closer to realizing that totality which was inside of you as a child. Like, if you look into the eyes of a baby, what do you see? Complete presentness, completely present, complete love. And I believe they're like that because they're closer. They were just born. They're closer to what they came from. I don't believe they came from nutting inside of, you know, some bitch. I believe they came from the ground of all being.
That's fucking dope.
The ground of love, the ground of, you know, of everything. And that's why they're so in tune. That's why they're so present. And I think as we grow, paradoxically, we're trying to get back to that. We're trying to get back to that presentness, and we're trying to get away from the hate and the fear, because there's so much fear in people. You know, and I think it's a quest, sort of, in many ways, to conquer your fear and lower it as you grow. You know, because even when I was doing sales a few years ago in the city, and I was killing it. I was like, I was leading the company and these were like hungry actors in New York City, 100 plus people. I was leading the company a few times, and I had a lot of fear in me when I was selling too. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I'm not a little bitch that lies. I was scared a lot of the time. I was like, damn, I don't want to pitch this person. Did it anyways. Okay, I don't want to pitch her. She's too hot. Did it anyways. Right. And by moving through my fear, which was always present, but always moving through it and trying to get back to that ground of love, I was able to succeed in that endeavor. And I believe that's applicable to any endeavor. You just got to scale it and believe in it, you know, because I believed. I was like, I saw these other kids and I was like, I'm as smart as him. I'm as charismatic as him. I can do it. I can do this. No problem. And I did it because I had that belief that I could get to that point.
That's dope.
But whenever I didn't have the belief, it didn't manifest. You got to have the belief. But getting back to the original point, I think it's just getting back to the ground of being, ground of love. And I don't think you could ever totally reach it as a human, but it's not the point, really. The point of human is have fun, enjoy the dichotomy, enjoy gross matter, enjoy the abstractions, the philosophy, kicking it, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, traveling, adventuring, sports, reading, everything.
The
I
full
think
skill.
The full skill. And I believe that present moment awareness gets you closer to your soul.
Yeah.
To the ground of being.
Just want to chime in there. Like, so this year specifically, I have been rereading my journals as to, unlocking myself or using the key to enter my souls. Literally what you just said now. Going into yourself, soul searching, you're searching for your soul is the way to access it. And literally I have written down, like, going inside your soul is the purpose. That's what you're supposed to do. I've written these things down almost like how you just phrased it, like verbatim. And what's so interesting is that it's in this present moment awareness that you talked about, that you find yourself. It sounds so strange, but people can equate it when you're almost dying. When you're falling or something, you're so snapped in the moment. Or that story you told at the beginning of that guy, that monk standing at that gate, and his arm got slapped off. In that specific moment, when you feel extremely high levels of pain, you're in that moment. And then you're more human, so to say. I don't know if you're then seeing your soul, but then you're the most human you can be. You're feeling it.
I agree. Totally. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's dope. So, you mentioned the word present state awareness. It always reminds me of this concept, Zazen. And I heard it vaguely in this samurai book called Hagakure. People should fucking read it. I'll put it in the fucking biograph again. But for the more westernized Twitter peeps, can you tell us a little bit what Zazen is? Because you wrote killer threads on it. And what's your take on it?
I think it was just a point in my thread, but Zazen is just sitting with the intent to merely sit. It's not sitting with the intent for enlightenment, because if you're sitting for the intent with the intent to achieve enlightenment, that's a desire. And when you're sitting, trying, wanting, needing that desire, then you're not really present. You're not really doing shit. You're being a bitch. You're being egotistical. You're trying to, you want it. And the best things in life come when paradoxically you don't want it.
Yes.
And you're in the moment. Maybe you want it, but you don't care that you want it. Something like that. It's not when you want it, when you're attached to things, nothing good ever happens. So in that sense, Zazen is a great analogy for life, because in life, you need to be present. You can't want things. If you're attached to things and your strings are attached to these fallible things and people and ideas and abstractions and concepts, it's going to elude you, and it's going to cause you massive pain as long as you stay attached to it. Zazen is sitting with the purpose to sit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get that misconstrued, because you can never get all the thoughts out of your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, you have like when you're 6,000 thoughts per hour or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
And it's inevitable that when you're sitting trying to clear your mind, thoughts are gonna stream through, no matter how intermittently they occur. Thoughts are still gonna occur. So you need to focus on being present, and that means you're not going to be perfect, but it's okay as long as you're presently in the moment, because nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the point of Zazen.
I get what you mean, because I've like practiced it as well. Sitting in the pool and just, a normal person would say like it's chilling, but I tend to be really in tune with the waves and the ripples. I look at other people, I hear breathings, shit like that. It's a meditative process. So I've been meditating a lot, and these things are, how do you say, like, I'm more susceptible to them, But how, if I'm like a simpleton and I've met Bodhisattva and Fury for the first time, I'm checking this podcast and I'm thinking like, because gurus give actionable advice, how would you give like an actionable Zazen session, you know, a tip to this like noob?
Good question, man. Good question. I would say just, find something comfortable. Definitely don't lie down, because if you lie down, you're probably just going to fall asleep. But find like a comfortable chair, sit down, and you can do Vipassana, which is simply breathing, focusing on the breath between your nose and the top of your lip. Focus only on that, because that's at least better than focusing on the 10,000 other things that you're just focusing on. So that's better. But Zazen is superior because you're not even focusing on your breath. You're just being still, and you're just chilling, clearing your mind. And what that does is it connects you to the ground of being, and it gives you access. Like these guys like Einstein and Tesla, man, they would nap in the middle of the day.
Yes.
And they would nap. And what that did was they knew that it connected them to some higher source.
Yes.
And even though they're the smartest people on earth, they didn't know exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
They just knew that it worked.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of their insights that way.
Yeah.
And you could liken it to Zazen, because you're chilling. You did the hard work before, right? You can't exclude that. You did the writing, you're writing the novel, you're writing the book, you're writing the theorem, and then you just chill. You nap.
Yeah.
You sit without thought, and then boom, like lightning, it hits you.
Yeah.
Right. That happens to me a lot when I'm writing, like a rhyme or a short story or something. Like it hits me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's me. I think it comes from something else. Like maybe it's like I learned the words. I had to know what the word meant and stuff, but it's like the exact configuration didn't come to me from me. It came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you could access that more freely via Zazen.
That's dope. Yeah. So yeah, you're basically also talking about it from a creative point of view, that you're what I think I use the phrase a lot, channeling the muse. You're like a conduit or like a vessel. And I think if you're like a fan of Greek mythology, you're on the Mount Parnassus, for the nerds looking at here. And then you get like you get the access of like the ether or the void, and it's something divine. So you're channeling divinity, and then you always have these mad flow sessions, So that I just want like
mad.
Because like for me, I don't know, I tend to do these things almost like that's why they call me like shamanistic or spiritualistic. I do it like nobody taught me how to do it. I'm just sitting there like, this is probably Zazen or something, but people always want like, give me the fucking book, give me the fucking cheat code. So I have to give this to like a random dude, But definitely practice that, because for me, what you just said, the big clincher is you get access to your soul, and that's very important to me as a human being. You should actually care about that, Like, how would you not want to have access to your soul?
Absolutely. How you feeling, man? How you feeling? You gone off the liquor, man?
Me? No, I'm just like, because there's a small delay, so I have to time it well. So when I say something, there's like a small delay. I have to take that into account.
Yeah, I noticed that.
There's a little bit like that, but the liquor's not hitting me. It's 50% though, but yeah, look.
I love Knob Greek. Love it.
It's
delicious.
It's good quality. It's very smooth, very sweet, and with a spicy long finish, and it just fills you up really well.
Do you like the rye better or the regular?
What is rye actually? It's something very American. Like if I say that to a Dutch person, they don't know what the fuck rye is.
It's like a type of grain. It's a little bit more, I guess I would say sour, but it goes really well with Manhattans and old fashions that have you mix them with simple syrup, that's sugar. Yes. So their sour quality meshes really well with it. But I don't know. I prefer it to regular, to be honest, as a prior mixologist.
Oh yeah. You share the audience a little bit about that. Like, give us your cocktails.
Honestly, I'm a simple man. Yeah. Like I told you, I like whiskey based. I'm not a girl. I don't drink cosmopolitans and shit.
Yo,
like
bro,
that.
wait. Let me cut you right there. Like, I was talking to a girl, but this girl's cool. So I drink straight up neat whiskey with her, and I tell her, "Thank God that you're a fucking Yeah, like, oh wow, like I
She's
thank
a
God.
keeper, man.
No, yo, she should not hear this shit because she's one of like she's saying that herself. But I'm saying like usually I'm when with a girl she wants these fucking girly drinks, you know. But also added above that, I have friends who drink fucking appletinis and shit. And from that, I have contemplated the concept, like you know the American classic line from the movies: "If a man doesn't drink whiskey, you can't trust him." Like I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I want to fucking drink whiskey. Why you like declining me this? You know? But yeah, that's definitely spot on. I just want to zoom in on that shit. But so yeah.
Yeah, nah, old fashions and Manhattans really are my favorite because they're so simple to make. It's just
Yes.
you find a good sweet vermouth
Mm-hmm.
for the Manhattan, you
Mm-hmm.
mix it with some whiskey, put in some bitters. You could even try orange bitters, and it brings out
Mm-hmm.
a lot of great flavor
Yeah.
mixology with the vermouth.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a great drink, man. It's a great drink. And then you could express the orange peel, which is just cut a little orange slice and like express the outside of it so
Yeah.
the oils go in.
Yeah.
And that tastes really good. But old fashions are even easier because it's whiskey, simple syrup, which is half water, half sugar, pretty much, and bitters.
Yeah.
And it's just delicious and easy to make. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
Yeah, I like it as well. Like, I think I grew up with the television show Mad Men, the iconoclast Don Draper. He drinks it.
Don Draper,
Yeah.
Don the Don.
Yeah. So definitely, like, yeah, I've become more well versed in my like cocktails as well. It fits me more, you know, because people think I'm like an old soul or something. And yeah, I know more than the average person about fucking alcohol. But yeah, but definitely like I like ordering vodka martinis, you know, not shaken or stirred, but I just like a vodka, you know. But that's definitely for me. So there's no there was
Maybe your prior incarnation was like a Russian farmer or something, or you're like a Ukrainian in 1940. You got fucked.
That's what's interesting though. I tend to vibe well with Slavic people because they're really so. The thing is about Slavic people, you're either this with them or you're really close. And what's really strange, they see I don't kid around. So I'm almost like a cowboy, like drifting out of town, and I walk in, and then it's very unsettling for people to see a fucking Asian in their town, and they're thinking this is a fucking tourist and he wants to fuck our girls, and they're 100% right on everything, but it's just jarring for them. And it's but like, how do I respect this guy? I hate this guy, but great stories come from this. And I don't know, like, and then they buy me drinks and shit like that, and then thinking like, oh, this fucking Asian can drink, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, you know, like.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting because there's a genetic predisposition toward hatred of outgroups. And it's like, where does that leave Asians in the West? Where does that leave Asians in non-Asian cultures? You know, it's sort of like you're blowing in the wind. It takes a lot of courage, like you are doing it. I respect you for that, brother, for doing that.
Thank you very much.
And you know, yeah, man. I mean, and who like, if you're not in an Asian community, and I'm not even like you because I'm half Asian, and the rest of me is like English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, French, Spanish. So I'm like a mutt, but you're fully Asian.
Yes,
and,
I'm fully Asian. Yes.
Even I know how. Where does that leave, like, you know, Hispanics who are the product of honestly like rape and mass orgies? Where does that leave Hispanics and like other mutts like me, and people like you that are Asian and displaced? It's like there's no real in group. So that sort of forces us to live by a code rather than a community. And a lot of people don't get that because, like, all right, you're a white, handsome Jack dude, you're 20. And I like a lot of these dudes. I got no beef with them. I don't want any smoke with them because a lot of them got hands too, and guns and shit like that. But look, you don't know what it's like to be like us.
Yes.
It's completely different to be Asian, Indian, and being an outgroup.
Especially respect to you Indian guys. I respect you guys. You have it worse than me.
It's true. And it's like, you know, how I don't know, man. I don't know, because I see a lot of these guys that I respect that are smarter than me, like Roman McClay, writing about this shit. And I'm like, okay, so where does it leave me? Where the fuck does it leave me? All right, you're Scottish, or you're angry because you have the short MAO1 allele, and you know that triggers you, and you know you want to kill people,
Yeah.
and you migrated the South, you're all right. So where does that leave me if I'm a mutt, right?
Yeah, you're
I
not.
have
Yeah.
to live by a code now. I have to live by a code. I can't. There
Okay.
is no in group. I'm not. I can't be like, hi, where's the other Japanese, French, English, Spanish people?
Oh yeah.
You know?
I definitely get your drift where you're going with this. Like, actually, it's actually dope that you brought this up, because if I'm like on a drift with this, or you catch me in a bad way, or I'm fucking drunk, I can make a podcast by myself, 2 hours long, talking about, yeah, how my past set me back. If we're gonna like a little bit like put it bluntly, or a little bit too black and white.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't tend to carry hate with me, but I tend to look at it from, how do I say this? The archetype that you like just portrayed, this like Jack White dude that is very successful. He is put in a sector of his life, in all the infinite possibilities of life, where he does not go to Twitter. He does not meet with Bodhi. He does
No.
not understand what mastic gum is, that he has to like train cheekbones. He does not understand how to clip his fucking mustache, because he cannot grow a beard.
No.
You know,
Yeah,
he
true.
does not understand that he's shorter, or that he has to learn multiple languages, or know everything about alcohol. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, I have been set up. You know, you're set up like in a trap, but also been set up in the sense that,
Also lifts you up.
yeah, because I have to choose it that way. I have to see it that way. I feel it like that now,
And that
because
circles back to the concept of upaya.
yes, I just
Flowing with
wanted
your
to say
flow.
that. Yeah,
Yep.
it's yeah,
We're
it's this
connected.
it's this Tao flow, because if I fight against it, it will go against me. Like, for example, I can like say, like, because when you're an Asian man in a Western community, you're not doing that well with bitches. I can be transparent about that, you know. But it makes me think very differently about game, my filtration system, how I vet girls, how I talk to them, you know. Not from a like
That's true. That's true. Just to cut you out for a second, since I live in New York City, which is one of the biggest communities, I do see some Asian cats that are with the hottest chicks from the other races, but it's just so fucking rare compared to white people, black people, Spanish people. It's completely rare, and it only happens in Queens and Brooklyn. You never see it in the more
Upstate.
the more really gritty or upscale. You only see it in like where the communities mix. Like there's a Chinese community here, and there's a Dominican community here, so that's why there's a little tiny bit of cross sectional breeding. But other than that, is you know, in the West, you're at a disadvantage if you're an Asian male, and you're because these guys, sorry to say, these guys have no balls. They don't stand up for themselves. Like that's why I'm fine being ostracized from most communities in the West, because you know, these guys take so much shit that they shouldn't take. Like you see black people, white people, they wouldn't take that shit.
No.
Like, oh yo, my China friend, like look at this chink, bro. Like what?
Yo, bro, you're bringing up so
like that. Like I'll fucking slap you.
Yeah, you're bringing
Like,
back so much
I would
memories.
deck you in your nose, and I don't care if you're bigger than me. I'll at least show you that I'm not taking that shit sitting down. And people don't like that because they are used to, in this day and age and culture, people, Asian people, taking shit and holding it and just living inside their gated communities.
Yeah, like I just want to chime in there. Like it brings up this classic Fury story of me. I have this like Caucasian friend, so he's Dutch, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And in fact, he's the last friend of university. But sometimes we go out and have some drinks where he lives. Oh, you still there? Oh yeah. But so I tend to do a disclaimer. I say, yo, bro, when you're going out with me, something is going to happen. And he's like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, I'm this jarring presence. And it's like, yo, Fury is not allowed to have fun with white people. And you're like, no, chill, you're with us. So TLDR, skip to the end of the night. It happened. You know, it always happens. It has to happen. So we didn't score any chicks. We had some fun. We danced. We drank. I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty mellow.
Right.
Eating my fucking like Angus burger. It was a good burger in a really good joint at 3 a.m. until this bitch ruined my fucking burger. You know, like, and like I said, when I'm fucking boozing, you should not interrupt my fucking Dow.
What did she say?
Yeah, no, but the oh no, she did so either you're Jet Li, Bruce Lee, or Jackie Chan. It doesn't matter because these are like legends. My friend, because I have this savageness, then I get like the compliment to be one of these action heroes. But my friends actually get called like, you have noodles in the Netherlands. We have like this this pastry. It's like a fried pastry, and there's like noodles in it. It's like a ball, like a noodle ball. And my friends get called noodle balls. Almost like, yeah, but not me, so to say. So I'm always Jackie Chan or something. Has to do with my height as well. Blah blah blah. But she says, "Hey, Jackie Chan." But I've heard it, I think, that night as well a couple of times. But sometimes it's to broach, when you're in a club, somebody just wants to vibe with you, and they're just going from your looks. They got nothing. It's your calling card, so to say. If you're wearing a leather jacket, you could just say, "Hey, motorbike dude," as well. But race is always fucking simple. But the tonality in her voice did not, it did not please me at all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
go in this like mode. I turn around and I say, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" But very not with an angry tone, but now it's a little bit comical.
Yeah.
And she's like, she jarred because she didn't expect an Asian guy would do this. But also
Yeah. Exactly.
because she's with more girls. There was this one girl and one dude. But then from the corner of my eye, I look at quickly at them. They're not like a physical menace. They don't have weapons. My eyes work really fast that way. So I'm thinking I'm good with this one. This is gonna be my night, because it's my night now. I own you. And then she said, then she pauses, and then I said, you can just we can be transparent. I speak the same language as you. I'm born here. What did you just say to me? And then she said, yeah. I said, yeah, Jackie Chan. Like I didn't mean it like that. And I said, I don't think you do. You meant it that way. And the reason why I'm stopping you here is I'm drawing the fucking line tonight because there's gonna be a fucking Asian kid. You're gonna ruin his fucking night. Maybe he's on a date with this girl that he's thinking he's gonna get the fucking pussy that night for the first time, or he's having a
Yeah.
ball with his friends. He's on his fucking birthday, and somebody has to draw the line for that other Asian kid that does not know me. I'm not a fucking superhero.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're gonna shut the fuck up. I didn't say that. I was pretty like tactical, but I was like,
You
no, you're
conveyed
not.
that through your emotions.
Yeah, yeah. And and then the girlfriend came. Yeah, she didn't mean like that. And then I said, oh, you're gonna interfere. This is keep out of it. This is not your business. I'm like, because she did mean it like that. And then I was and then I like how do you say, I shamed her or like guilt tripped her. I said, okay, I'm a fair man. Like maybe I can be wrong about this. I tend to like project these things because it's my life. I will give you one shot, and I am a really good lie teller. What did you mean by that when you called me Jackie Chan? Either you called me that, and what was your point in it? What did you try to achieve? And then she knew that she was her ego was exposed. She just confronted
Yeah.
herself. Basically, she was being a fucking racist. Let's call it out there. You know. And then the guy came. It's always funny. Like a guy wants to white knight, but what I then do, it's actually funny because I tend to like diffuse physical altercations. I said, "Oh, this your girl? Are you the boyfriend?" You know, because he has to protect her. Then he says no. Then I said, "Shut the fuck up." Then I said, "Shut the fuck up. Back up, little scrawny white kid." And then it got even
Yeah.
because I was so loud because I was standing up and they were sitting down. I was more dominating physicality presence. Then this black bodyguard came. Like it was just one dude because it was a food joint. It was not a club bar. And then said, "Sir,
Mhm.
you're making a lot of noise. You have to move here." Then I said, "You know what? This has been going all my fucking life. I'm not gonna move. You know why? That girl over there, she's a fucking racist." And I could tell by the tonality of his voice, he has the same roots as my father. It's this distinct sub-street culture where my father's from. I said, "Yo, bro, I can tell you're from this country in Latin America. Um, she's a whiteo. Probably if you were me, she would be fucking racist to you as well. You know these people, right? If you're gonna remove somebody out of this joint, remove her. She's a fucking racist." I pleaded my case,
Mhm.
almost like a pitch. The guy looked at me. Then he said, "Okay, okay, you can stay." Then he walked away. He walked back. He just walked and he left me alone. Was the greatest story ever. Like a fucking win for me. I looked at that bitch and I was like, and then I sat down. And then end of this, like tying back to the beginning. Then the friend that I was with, he looked at me. He said, "Yeah, Fury, this does happen to you a lot." Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
hits me always like.
That's a good story, man.
Yeah, I tend to be like very chill about these things because like I bag fat ass white girls, so it's like my revenge. Every time I dig one of them, it's like like immediate revenge.
There it is, right there, man.
But it's like the child in me. But it has to be said. But I wanted to zoom in on what you said, like because you're propelled, so to say, as an outcast. Why does it then necessitate that you have to have a code? What do you mean by that?
I mean, it has to, because you have to have some sort of foundational principle, and you have to have some sort of you have to instantiate daily some sort of code to build a base so that you can act. Otherwise, you're just a leaf blowing in the fucking wind,
Yeah.
aren't you? I mean, it's like if you don't have a code, you're being subsumed into the code of other people.
Yes.
And if you're being subsumed into the code of other people, then you're a bitch, because you don't have your own moral philosophy. You don't have your own life philosophy. You don't have your own way. You're not on the Tao path.
Yes.
You're not flowing with upaya. You're flowing against upaya because you're born as a boy.
Yes.
What does a boy want to become other than a man? I mean, Sidney Crosby, Wayne Gretzky, as a boy, wanted to become a hockey player, and he became the best hockey player. Or some people could say it's Mario Lemieux or Bobby Orr, but it's the same thing with Michael Jordan, LeBron, Magic. But more than that, even these guys at the highest level of business and sports, more than that, what do they want to do? They're male gender. They want to become men. Yeah. That's the ultimate goal, and you can't become a man unless you have a code. So
that's dope.
That's why I think it's so important, more so than being a woman. I think especially for men have a code, especially in this day and age where so many people don't have a code. They're being blown to the wayside by cultural winds that they're not even aware of, that have been building up and harnessing kinetic energy for centuries. They don't even know, bro.
That's dope. I think it was a question I asked that I personally needed to hear, actually, because like, why would I need a code? Because I'm an outcast as well. I categorize it like that: this outcast, this transformation that you have to go through from boy to man. But it makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people, they say, or they put on me that, yo, bro, you seem to have like a code that you live by. But I have nowhere in no notebook actually the Fury code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I do tend to do things in a certain way, so to say, and it exudes out of me. So that makes sense, Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And to tie it a little bit, like, because everything is like tied together in the grand scheme of life. You just basically tied yourself to the other podcast guests a little bit, in the sense that they talked a lot about frame, controlling your own narrative, control the narrative. And the other guy, he gave, huh? What did you say?
Some more, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you watched that one? Yeah. He was heavy on that shit. He basically like phrased in this way: you're a movie star. You gotta cast yourself as the fucking lead, or you will be cast in somebody else's shitty movie, and you will be a fucking extra. And it's beautifully put how you just said
it. All comes down to courage.
Yeah.
All comes down to courage. All it is. It's all it is. If you don't pick up your balls, somebody's gonna pick them up for you, and that's gay. So don't be gay.
that's like you've been spitting out tweets here, man. Like, because I hear when somebody says something like, gold nugget worthy, but the fans are gonna love this for sure. But yeah, it reminds me of this story about a junkie that I knew. He always shouted when he get into an altercation. It's better to what does he say? To lose your shit than to get shit on, something like that. And when you like mess with this junkie, even though he's not rich, he was like, yo, you think you could fuck with me? Like, he loses his fucking shit because like he doesn't want to be shit on. And that's that courage and that code that, yeah, okay, I don't give a fuck who you are, if you're a fucking trust fund baby, or yeah, we're all walking on this fucking planet. You got to respect that shit, I think.
Exactly.
I want to tie this to so we're talking about zeitgeist, outcast, courage, and code. This is the perfect opportunity to introduce the elusive Sigma concept. You You know,
Mm,
enlighten us a little bit. Like, what is the Sigma concept in your voice, and what do you think about it? Like, and how do you fit into
yeah,
that? You know,
yeah.
tell us your
Hmm.
take.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really touchy subject because
Mm-hmm.
whenever you get into the Greek letters and
Yeah.
beta, alpha, gamma, zeta, it's like it's kind of a little bit gay in a way,
Yeah.
but these are very foundational like a lot of people get so triggered by them, and you got to ask, why are they triggered? Why are they triggered?
Okay.
It's because it's exposing your inner soul.
Yeah.
And I think the Sigma concept, which is espoused by guys like you, me, Roman
Yep.
McClay, is so unique because a lot of people aren't like that. They fit
Yeah.
into more the alpha or the beta role.
Yeah.
So they're either a follower or a leader.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who have been ostracized don't feel comfortable in either mode.
Yes.
They don't want to be a follower or a leader.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's funny because a lot of times, like, I have a very forceful personality in certain circles, so a lot of people will take me for a leader in certain ways,
Mm-hmm.
but then they find out that I don't really give a fuck about that shit, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't feel like leading. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
I'm not your older brother. Like, you're a stranger to me. Why would I want to, like, pick up your own balls, pick up your vagina, and do shit as an adult? So I mean, the concept is very critical to those outliers who
Mm-hmm.
stand on the periphery and, like, walk the edge of the coin.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
like you and I, they have the ability to fit in. We have swag, we can do shit, we can make shit happen.
Yeah.
Money wise, women wise, making friends is really no problem for us.
Yeah.
And it triggers a lot of people because a lot of people that are, may not have as much experience or are weaker, are they get jealous and they get
Okay.
in a jealous rage, and they're like, and they try to undermine. And I don't feel like dealing with that shit all the time. Like, what am I going to do? We live in a society. I'll go to prison if I punch you in the face and break your nose, which that's honestly, that's what I feel like doing to most of these guys.
Yeah.
I feel like beating the shit out of them, which I have the capacity to do to most adult males.
Yeah.
As long as they don't have a gun or a knife, like, I'm not going to beat up Ed Lattimore or Tate. I'm going to get my ass kicked. But most people that I meet, I kick their ass, but I don't want to go to prison though.
Yeah.
So that's why I choose to, I don't want to play word games with them.
Okay.
And it's strange because I'm really good with words and I can speak in a verbose, eloquent manner, but I don't want to play fucking games with you to satiate your ego and your childhood trauma. I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
At all. And maybe as I evolve and I get better and I get more experience, maybe I'll evolve into more of a leadership role. Like, if I ever have kids, I will have to, by necessity, evolve into a leadership role. But, right now, I just don't feel like doing that shit. I feel like I'm for the world. I'm for traveling. I'm for new experiences, meeting people like you, meeting up, linking up, doing shit, having adventures, writing that shit into the fiction, nonfiction. That's what I feel like right now. And for people in that mode, I think it's best not to father people or be fathered by people, but to do your own thing, because the world needs outliers.
Yeah.
Right? The world needs outliers. There's a reason that there's people like us, because we're part of a larger organism, the human body. And there's white blood cells, red blood cells, cancer cells, if you're unfortunate, and some cells just are rogue and they go do their own thing, but they exist for a purpose, right?
I want to
For a purpose.
What did you say? What exists for a purpose?
Just like rogue cells like us, they exist for a purpose.
This, like, it jogged like a point that I wrote down, which is really interesting. That, so you say they have like a purpose, they fit in the greater scheme of things, and there's this concept that is called the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age. I just wanted to, we have to first explain to the audience what the Kali Yuga is, because one friend always says, what is the fucking Kali Yuga that you're constantly babbling about? But the real question that I actually want to ask is, what do you think the key role of the Sigma, or the outliers, or the rogues, is in leading the other people in the Kali Yuga out towards the golden age? What do you think? You have to explain first what the Kali Yuga is, and then what the role is of these.
I mean, I think that's a little bit romanticized.
Of course, but that's why I want to phrase it like that.
Amping us up, but yeah, no, I get it. But it's like, yeah, I mean, you need, if you didn't have that rogue element like you and I and other people like Roman McClay and people like that, if you didn't have that people with that Sigma mentality, or people that are striving toward that mentality and living it out, or trying to live it out, or living it out in some way and trying to get back, you wouldn't have, it's like, it's analogous to like when there's a forest fire. If there is a fire, and if it doesn't spread that much in the first time, then it's going to spread a lot the second time. That's like one of the principles of nature. Like, you got to let destruction happen. You got to let small destructions happen to stop large destructions from happening. And I believe that we, as counterculture figures, can sound the clarion call toward things that are happening that are fucked, that other people will not sound. And it's like we're the only people that can do it, because betas and pussies won't stand up to leaders, and they won't stand up. I have no problem standing up to anybody. That's why if I see somebody and they're saying something, even if they're very charismatic and very forceful, more forceful than me, I don't give a shit. I will stand ground, and I will say my piece and say my shit. And that influences people, man. You know, it really does. It's like the people that don't have that much balls and that much courage, they're like, oh shit, he's talking shit. Like, maybe what he's saying is true. You know, maybe all he is doing is just being loud and, you know, positive, upbeat, and he's doing some sort of superficial, glib magic tricks to trick us into following him. Maybe what he's saying is deeper than that. Yeah. And in a group of 10 people, if I could get 2 people switch, does that make a big impact? 20%? That makes a huge impact, man. So I think that's one of the roles that we play, that, like, you know, other people are too pussy to put their shit out there. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to like roil the waters, but we will. And I think that's important.
That's pretty dope. I think like proof in the pudding, or a more like proof in the water that you can see visually, is our Twitter accounts. You know, there's a reason why we're pretty predominant, because if we look at it percentage wise, there's only above 1,000 followers, only 1% of the Twitter accounts is something like that. These statistics are crazy when you hear it.
True.
So if you see guys like you and me with this like Sigma spirituality, this Ronin vibe, this swagger, you know, that is so, it's not like we're leading, you know. I don't give a fuck, the same as like Bodhi. But a lot of it, like, dudes slide in my DMs, you know, and I actually screenshot these DMs because these guys say that I'm helping them. No,
pause, bro, pause.
Like, because it feeds my ego a little bit, you know, it feeds my ego. That's what I want to say, that I'm helping these guys. And that's what I just want to say. But but there's definitely like a function for it, you know, or else me and Bodhi wouldn't exist in this. We were like, I can imagine, like, we're like tweeting like 1 week, 2 week, a month, and we'd be like, it's not catching fire. But apparently it is. It's like people like shouting us out, oh, these guys are different. Like, these cats are different. They have their own vibe, their own code, you know, stuff like that. Very original, very blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, but, you know, you should have internalized Zen concepts a long time ago. You should meditate like almost daily, like I do, you know, these things, you know. And so we're definitely like, I don't want to say champions, but like, how do you champion these things, these concepts, you know? And we're like a face for it, so to say.
That matters.
Yeah. So that's pretty dope, you know? Like, so I wrote down here like Ronins, Bushido, and honor, you know? Can you actually? I wrote down. So we're talking about all these kinds of stuff. But what actually, like, I was in the shower. I thought this is a good question to ask Bodhi, because I know why I do it. These, how do you say, like these mental models, these frameworks that you and I specifically put up for ourselves. I know why I do it. Why do you feel like you have to be more you, so to say, with these type of mental frameworks, with the Tao and stuff like that? Why do you keep saying this shit to other people and to yourself? Yeah, not to other people, but to yourself mostly. Why do you feel you need to tell yourself that? Like, does it have to do with your life, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like it's part of my blood because I'm Japanese, and Bushido code was so prevalent for so many centuries,
Yes.
in Japan, and I have to honor that in a way. But nobody lives like that in the West. Nobody fucking lives like that, bro. Like, it's like these concepts such as rectitude, or justice, courage, benevolence, politeness, honesty, honor, loyalty, self-control. There's none of that. People wax philosophical on it, but they don't live it.
Yes.
They don't live it.
Yes.
So I'm trying to live it. And it's not even that I want to live it. It's just that it's where life led me. It's where life led me. And it's not the most comfortable path. It's not the path that I would prefer to live, but it's flowing with upaya. It's flowing with my Tao flow. It's flowing with the flow of my life. I have to honor that, or else I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. And and in a sense that lends itself to massive power beyond what the masses have. So I don't really care if I get recognition for it.
Okay.
Although ironically, the less I care, the more recognition I do get for it.
Yeah.
Especially like in reality, just moving around life. It's like people notice me, like and I think it's because so many people don't exemplify these concepts.
Yeah, these virtues.
It's easy to be. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like nobody exemplifies these, and I think I think that's why it's so important, even if it's uncomfortable, to lead by example and try to embody it. You're not going to embody it perfectly, but even if you embody it like 60%, 70% is better than zero. So try it anyways.
That's dope there, man. I resonate a lot with that. It sounded almost inspiring. Like I felt like a twinge, like this hit. Because you described me a little bit as well. Like I would be thinking, why the fuck am I? Why do I need to meditate? Why do I need to think like this? Why can't I be a normie? Like I always joke, like I always want to be like Pinocchio. I always want to be a real boy. When people, but I say that, people like, they're so jarring to them. Like either they don't know the joke, or they were like, oh, that's strange to say. I don't know. It's because like this outcast thing, they will never get it. But like I said, like with the upaya flow, it's just trust upon me. It's trust upon me, and like you said, it lifted me up, and I'm just like thinking, oh, okay, apparently this is what I have to do. For example, these podcasts, these things. I like one dude, the first guy, if people like watching us, like with Brother Shaw, he asked me like, brother, I've been loving these cigars we're having. Let's do a podcast together. I'm like, fuck, I didn't want to do the whole fucking podcast thing. But one guy leads to the next, and you're chain bonding. But then you're like suddenly set in this like situation. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I'm actually like pretty good at it, in the sense that people wanted some video material of me, like want to see my sexy face, like emotion and shit like that, and talking me all this shit and drinking whiskey. They wanted to see that. And I'm thinking like, maybe I'm, putting myself out there, but I like it. And but they're definitely different paths, but I do get your drift. It somehow feels satiating.
Sure. Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
What else you got for me, bro? What do you got in your notes?
Let me look at them. I don't know. Transformation seems cool. Transform. I don't have any notes, but I got the word transform.
Yeah,
that seems pretty cool.
Sure, go ahead.
I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think that?
No, for sure. You can ask me questions, by the way. Yeah, like one guy. I uploaded it today. I think like his name is Landon. This motherfucker. I was the guest on my own podcast. He asked
Landon Gladiator.
Yeah. I got him on.
Oh, that's my boy, bro. We both play ice hockey. So I was actually thinking about him last night, no homo, because I was in the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm in Maine. I just came to Maine. It's cold. It's winter. Maybe I should, like, I haven't played ice hockey in years, but I'm still probably pretty nice. So I should probably make a video, like showing my skills and doing a video. And I thought he would appreciate that. And I was like, yeah, let me do that.
Yeah, Lennon is such a channel ball of like energy. Like the second he came on, I could tell, like,
he's
bro,
a G,
shit. It was crazy. So, but then it was almost like conversation, because he asked me all kinds of shit. So be my guest. You can ask me all kinds of shit. But
Yeah.
so
What's
transformation.
your thoughts on transformation, man?
Yeah, so I want to tie it a little bit back. Like you have this kid, and specifically if you're an outcast or like an outlier in Asian in a Western society, you're gonna have problems. And especially if you have my personality type, because I don't like to kiss up. For example, um,
Meaning,
if you people have picked up that they're listening to my podcast the first time, I have a strange accent, my English accent. But what's funny, so my native language, I don't use certain words that would make me fit in. I spot these things only after the fact because I was like, that person's saying something else, and people are like, ha ha, ha, laughing more with them, like what's different, Like for example, a very prevalent thing when where I live, when somebody gets a cookie, even before they've had it, they get this fucking cookie, and they'd be like, this is delicious, very, very sociable, very gregarious. But I'm like, yo, motherfucker. One, I don't eat cookies. That shit's bad for your health, unless I'm bulking, or something like that. So I'm like a little bit different in that aspect. But then I take the cookie, maybe if I'm polite, then I just say the English equivalent. I'll just say thank you, maybe because I speak more English than the other language. And then I eat the cookie and think, it's well made. I say something very different, very precise, very logical, almost rational. So I just want to explain this, like emphasizes that what I call behavioral leakage. Behavioral leakage. It seeps out of me that I don't belong, I don't fit. They can smell it on the way I dress, the way I walk, the swagger, because I pick these things up from Hollywood movies, Bless the Americans, these things are very Americana, very inside me. And I listen to different types of music, yada yada. So, but how
not
would
to cut you
you,
off, but who's your favorite Hollywood influences to emulate, or
so yeah,
not even emulate, but just that you like?
if I have to think about it, so I don't think about it consciously anymore. But when I was younger, I watched a lot of those action movies like Arnold Schwarzenegger time, Predator time.
Yeah, yo,
I
those are
think
dope,
those
man.
guys rubbed off on me without me even knowing it. So I don't rewatch those movies anymore.
Mm.
I have not a lot of memories about it, but it rubbed off on me a lot. I think, like especially like Jean Claude Van Damme. I watched so many movies of him. Jean Claude Van Damme. You know him, like
Yeah.
Bloodsport with Bolo.
Do you
Those
see
guys.
that commercial? Do you see that commercial where he's like in between two trucks and he
Oh
does
yeah,
his full split?
yeah,
Yeah,
I see
that shit was fire, bro.
that. Yeah, but actually, yeah. So, but where I wanted to go with my point is that you're gonna have trouble. And what I mean by that, like, you can play your own game, create your own frame, your own narrative. But in terms of like monetarily things, your career, your social circles, pussy, relationships, any way you want to further yourself in the hierarchy of the established society that already exists, you're gonna have an issue because you don't walk like them, you don't talk like them. Even though I'm an educated guy, I have the degrees and anything, but they just like, we don't want to play ball with you, Fury. And that's the moment transformation happens in the sense you're gonna think a little bit more DT, Dark Triad. You're gonna try to experiment a little bit with, say the same shit as them. Just try it out, like how it goes, or be more open-minded than usual. Like, yeah, let me eat this
The
from.
funny thing is, it works so well. It works so well, but it's just not me, and I can't respect myself if I'm not being me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, I can just like be upfront here. I'm not a platitude guru Twitter account, for example. The second I like type something that's cringy as fuck, maybe I can write one or like replicate it because it's control copy. The second it's out of my brain, I'm thinking, nah, not doing that again. I just it's just like it's not happening. And no, but it's like that, like you said, Bodhi. It's because it has been ingrained with me since like yeah, the dawn of time for me that I didn't fit in. Like, why would I try to fit in with my fucking tweets? It's the same, you know. But anyway, I try to roll with it differently than, let's say, they think an Asian guy is a scrawny guy. Then I think, oh, okay, now's the time for me to go into lifting. Maybe I was the introvert that was thinking, maybe that's shallow, that I need to be bulky and shit like that. But then I'm thinking, nah, maybe I just was too pussy to just try it. Then I feel the testosterone hitting. Then I'm feeling good. Then I'm fucking these white bitches. Then I take this revenge. Then I'm feeling it. And this is like, yeah, I'm just like giving a small nuance of transformation, but then also the way that I'm like trying to make this online hustle thing work. Like I said, this is trusted upon me. Those white crackers, like, they would never think like to become a Twitter guru. This is my revenge, like to put it in revenge terms. I don't feel hate or anything. But if to put it like in these tactical terms, like chess terms, we're gonna go with that, you know. But like I'm outflanking these motherfuckers, you know. I'm pinning them or whatever, you know. Fucking good question, yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
But so why did you want to ask me about transformation? You know, do you feel like you yourself have gone through significant transformation these last few years, or has it been gradual for you?
It's been gradual for me, man. I feel like it's just it's such a human thing, you know. It's just the human mode. It's sort of like when I said in one of my previous videos, you know, if you're thinking about the Iliad.
Yeah, I read a lot about Greek mythology. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
About what?
The Greek mythology, the Iliad, right?
Greek mythology, yeah.
Homer.
No, it's like the Iliad. In the Iliad, Hector is the lead savage in the fucking Trojan army.
Yes.
But he was born normal. He had to learn how to become a man.
Yes.
Whereas Achilles was born a fucking savage.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he got the kleos from the gods during the battle.
Yeah.
So he had the double juice. And
yes.
No wonder he killed, you know, Hector. He might have stood a chance without the kleos from the gods. Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's
he got the juice.
Homer put it that way.
Yeah.
But for me, it was very gradual. You know, when I was a little kid, I was definitely the most meek, you know, the most shy, the most reticent to extend myself. And part of that was probably because of the cultural shock, which I probably didn't even understand at that point. You know, in kindergarten, you're 5 years old, you don't understand.
You don't understand.
But it's like, it's just instinctive at that point. It's like, oh, this kid does not look like me, I'm going to bully him. And that carried its way through for a long time to me into my teens, into my late teens. And, you know, without that, if I would have been able to like find some cool friends before that or something, or like gotten into some in-group and gotten into a high point in that hierarchy, I probably would be like everyone else. I probably would be trying to, you know, act like a G and like, you know, be acting with the winds of the culture and everything, and thinking I'm part of the, you know, in crowd, so to speak, quote unquote. But, you know, that's not me, to be honest. And I have to honor that. I have to honor that, or I'm being a bitch liar. And with me, I think that it's important to gain the power from my past. Most people let their past destroy them, you know. And I would never dox anyone. From my family or close friends or anything, because that's part of my honor and loyalty. I don't dox people. And like, people are all like, you know, like, it circles back to what we were saying in the beginning, like, tell your story, man. I think it's bullshit. I think it's just a flash in the pan of culture. Like, I want to prove I get laid. I want to prove I make money. I want to prove I made $110,000. It's like, you know, I mean, I think that honoring your past and gaining power from that truly is better. And I'm saying, if you were that popular kid in elementary school, roll with that. If you were popular in high school and middle school, roll with that. That's part of your upaya. It's not part of mine, though. That's why I'm not rolling with it. So, you know, I mean, just be real. Everybody's fake today. I really
like how you said that. You're talking about the acceptance of your past, you know, and you're rolling with it, the upaya and the Tao flow. But it's also interesting how you said, like, this contrast that you said, like, tell your story, you know, that I like to think, like, how do I say this? Like, I'm not playing a character, but I'm playing an archetype. And I see archetype as cycles or circles in the grand scheme of life, all the way from the first caveman till, I don't know, maybe we're going to Mars or something, or wherever. But we're all playing these like archetypes, and I'm just one cog in this giant, you know, scheme of things. And that's why, in general, like, I do like to tell a little bit about myself, you know, but I don't make myself important with these details of my life. That doesn't matter. It's what I represent in these archetypical schemes, I like to call it, this theater, this play, that I'm like fitting this Sigma thing, that I have these travel things. And like, for example, I like the James Bond movies, and I'm apparently doing things like speaking multiple languages, going to multiple countries, have some liquidity, not that much that I want to, talking to women in different types of languages, like a percentage that how do you say, that shocked me, like if you speak 3+ languages, you're like in the 10% of the human population or something, and if you speak 4+ or something, you're already 1%. Can you imagine somebody like you and me, if we would like, my goal is a lot of fucking language, but we're already in the 1%, and then we're like swooping these girls all over the world. This is next level, you know. That is in the
I'm not
sense.
1%, bro. I only know English, bro.
Only know English,
I only know English.
bro.
Yeah.
Don't lie to
I
real.
only know English. I know a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of Japanese.
See, but
I
then
wouldn't say,
okay,
I wouldn't say I'm fluent in either one.
okay. I'm in the fucking 1% then. In this podcast. This is the HOOA podcast. No, but it just jarred upon me that salute. But I just wanted to like, how do you say, like rolling with my strengths. So because these languages were given to me almost by birth and stuff like that, and my
Man, you
polyglottic mind.
motherfuckers in Europe blow my fucking mind because you guys all know like 5+ languages.
Yeah.
We only know English. What the fuck?
Because of schooling system, so to say. But
what do
I
they
don't know.
how early do they start teaching you? Like how early do they start teaching?
So they give the English language, which would then be my second language, at elementary school already. You know?
So your first is French?
No, my first is Dutch.
Dutch, okay.
For my tatas there. That means for my white crackers. For my white crackers. Something like that. But yeah, but like they learn English like when they're young. But I watched Hollywood movies, so that got on me quick. And then I got 2 languages from my parents, different languages, and French is my 5th. But I taught that one myself, so to transform what we were talking about, this ascension, this this actualizing of my fucking self. I just knew languages are the fucking key to swooping French bitches or talking with French dude at festivals. It's just access, it's just this social chameleon, so to say. And I just want to say, like, yeah, it's the acceptance of the past, and that just sets you up, it sets you up. And people are like, oh, why do you feel the need to like practice French? I'll be like, yo, train everything. You need to train more of your shit. You're a fucking weak ass pussy,
Yeah.
Not you, but like, I mean, like, it's crazy. But yeah, so that's definitely some dope shit, like, that you have to accept your past. I think because now I'm more comfortable in my skin, and I think it exudes over the podcast, maybe for the guests as well, this tranquility. But I had a lot of these things that I was thinking when I was younger, these struggles with yourself. You're not good enough, or, they're so mean to me, these things, Yeah, but I don't know. I think you just have to let it go, You just have to let it go. It matures you, and then you let it go. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, this is maybe private because you mentioned this in the DMs to me, but so it's a little bit about your family and your upbringing. So nobody knows anything where you're from, so to say. But how do I say this? Like, so for example, you're half Japanese, you say,
Yeah.
Do you feel that these way of thinking? Yeah, that's the question. Like, do you feel this way of thinking was passed on to you by your parents, or did you like adopt this more yourself as to your own liking? Let's put it that way.
I think I adopted it myself, but I don't think I like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I like it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't talk about my parents is because it's so in vogue and it's so cliche in a way.
Yeah.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk, like, oh man, like talk about your story, talk about your family. Like, do you think a Roman legionnaire? Think of some of the most savage Roman legionnaires and Bushido code fucking samurai, like Musashi. Do you think Miyamoto Musashi would have been talking to you about his family and his upbringing? Like, it's so corny to me. And just because you have these billionaire, multi-millionaire entrepreneurs doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
to me, it means it's more virtue and honor.
Yes,
And if that means privacy, it means privacy. If it's more public for you, good for you, buddy. I don't give a shit. You know,
that's
like
dope.
good. And I don't mean that sarcastically or cynically. I mean like good for you, bud.
Yeah,
Like go with your flow. That's your flow. It's as valid as my flow, but it's not my flow.
yeah,
And with
that's good.
honor and virtue that I'm trying to espouse, I'm not going to expose my family to the internet.
Yes,
I'm not going to tell things that are going to denigrate them
yeah,
just to uplift me and sell some fucking PDFs and, you know, like tell
yeah.
my quote unquote story.
I
Like,
get it.
no, I have more respect for that. And even though I'm not probably going to reconcile certain relationships that are deep to me ever in my life. I've come to terms with that.
Yeah,
But I still have enough respect for the sanctity of human relationships
yeah.
that I'm not going to expose people and talk shit about them just to make myself feel better. I feel that's a
That's
bitch move. I feel that's what everybody does, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be I'm going to be a model for not doing that. I
yeah.
stand for it.
Okay, that's good to hear. No, I think I like, how do I say this? Like, it's actually pretty cliche that they ask these things, but it reminds
Like
me that
I have no problem doxing myself to people,
yeah,
telling my life story to like to you. I would tell you in real life
I know
if we
what you
met
mean.
up.
Like, I
You know,
got it.
I
I
would
get
tell my shit, but I'm not gonna tell my shit to fucking everybody in the
it.
World Wide Web.
It
Fuck these
it
people.
reminds me
You know,
these days how
I don't want
cautious.
all these trolls and bullshit.
Yeah, I get it. Like it reminds me a little bit of like for example these DMs I'm getting. So my account is growing. Like one guy he found my IP address or something just because I didn't respond to him or something. I just blocked him. You know, I don't give a fuck. But or
Mm.
a lot of people asking me where are you right now because they see I'm traveling and shit like that. But I get very, I don't know. I don't want to like give my privacy away. I'm becoming more the ninja. Literally, like you do not have to know where the fuck I am to give validity to the content that we're discussing. It does not matter, you know. Even my name is something else. You know, it's like a pseudonym. It's Fury. Like you don't have to know my real name. If you ask me, I will tell you. But it goes so far. I do respect you though what you said because it goes so far with me. So when I'm even like in like a private conversation with this girl that I was talking about, she doesn't even know my like last name. She's like begging for my last name. I slipped her my like first name. That was already mistake number one in my head. That's how serious I am. Like no, bitch, I'm Fury. That's also like a, how do you say, like a little bit like a, yeah, like a role play. You know?
Nam de plume.
Yeah, nom de plume, nom de guerre. You know, like it's more, I don't know, she sees me as something bigger, you know, like an icon as well. It's more in dominating on her as well. But as soon as she like knows more about me, I'm the same as you. So it was an interesting question that I had to ask. You know, it was really funny like to see it. But but that analogy that you said about Musashi, because me and Eddie did the Musashi podcast. Actually, we don't know jack shit
Yeah.
about Musashi. That's actually funny. We don't know jack shit about it. They say he's just there in the world from the get go, and his history is really, yeah, he comes from this like fief and this village, so that's where Miyamoto comes from. They know a little bit about his dad, but not much is known, and this guy just starts butchering people from page one, you know, and that's who he is as a man. And he does to this day represent his you know, his village where he comes from, Miyamoto. It's that district, you can find it somewhere, but it does not say much about who he is actually because of all the things that he done. So that's really a wonderful analogy that people will 100% understand.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Did you watch the podcast with me and Eddie? I saw it, I think, like a
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I watched it through to like 130. I think it was like 150
yeah, thanks.
total, but I watched most of it. I watched some more, and
Yeah,
yeah, it was interesting. It was good. It was a great podcast, especially, you know, when he's like the part where he's hugging the girl, and you were like, yo, he's like all those emotions are going through him, like, yo, I want to fuck this bitch, but he had an ideal so strong that he decided not to do it. It's like it's kind of hyperbolistic. It's kind of hyperbole, but it sort of resonates with the path that we're taking in a way, in terms of honor and virtue over,
yeah,
in terms of taking the counterculture path
yeah,
over the culture path.
yeah, for sure. I can like be transparent about that, you know, like When I'm with a girl, for example, that takes away from the mission, what you're describing here. Like Musashi, he turned out this girl that was ready for him, his love, the main, love attraction in his life. But he just like physically almost even like, "Eek," I have to become like the greatest, like the calling. And it's not so strong for me that I have like pinpointed. Like for him, let's say it was simple. He just has to butcher all these people. Then he knows he becomes the best. Every time he meets like this Uber Lord, he's thinking like, if I kill this dude, I'm this badass motherfucker. For me, it's not that clear cut out yet specifically. I can't pinpoint it yet, but I do already start to feel as I get to know more girls that they detract from the mission. Maybe it sounds too red pill for some guys, but she detracts from the mission in the sense that it's in excess. Anything in excess is wasteful. The same for these females. And I'm already thinking about these like these this like the legacy and the things that Lobo Salvaje talks about, these compounds where you have these more like concubine types of women to breed your generation forwards. I'm thinking more that will have some kind of like effect, so to say, on society. Not just like, I don't know, just dicking around. You want to share your thoughts a little bit about that, your progeny, or or your dating stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I came to Maine, this bumfuck place,
Okay, sure.
just to come out of the fucking communism and socialism bullshit of New York City. It's so corny. It's just so much deep soy state
Yeah.
cornball bullshit that
Okay.
all they do is like eat soy and like bang dudes. It's just so corny.
Yeah.
But pretty much, I dabbled a little bit in the Hinge and the Tinder, and it's like there's these girls that they're like, they're like, I'm like, I fucked hotter chicks than you, and they're like trying to play games like, you ain't shit, blah blah blah, and I'm like, hey man, like maybe you're just eating too much soy, listening to too much communism,
Yeah.
listening to the deep soy state,
Yeah.
and I just can't deal with it, man. I just can't deal with it. It's like, I don't know. We need a renaissance here, baby. We need a fucking renaissance here, man. Do you agree?
Yeah. So you're not. I think I was with the Landon podcast. So I said to him the same that I'm going to say to you. Like a lot of these American guys, such as you've been telling me this. Like I have this romanticized image of America when I visited more than 20 years ago. It was very different then, maybe. And San Francisco was then not so full of junkies and needles on the fucking ground. What I hear now, I was there in America, but these days, what I hear about like the women that, yeah, it's it's definitely like you have to come to Latin America or Southeast Asia or Central
Yeah.
Asia.
I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal. There's still diamonds in the rough everywhere. There's still
Of
like
course.
hot young chicks that love you and everything, but I'm sure it's way more prevalent in Latin America. I just haven't had the opportunity to go there yet.
Yeah, to
I
dive
would
in.
love to go there, like with someone like you and then just kick it and just
Yeah,
chill.
yeah.
But
Landon wants to come to Thailand as well.
oh shit, yo, me, Landon and I could we could take over the Thailand hockey scene. We could win the Thailand hockey championship.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
could do that together, bro.
Yeah, that'd be
Landon,
dope.
if you're watching this, we got this. We got this, bro. Landon ice hockey. We Thailand ice hockey. We're winning. We're winning. D3 IIHF championship.
That's pretty dope.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I would like to get into Muay Thai though, like Ajax. I was into that. I was researching it before he even did it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, oh yeah, that's actually
That's
true.
national.
That was
Yeah,
true.
that's
Like
their
you were,
national
yeah,
shit.
you were talking about it like long before he saw. Then he was suddenly there. He's probably there because of
Yeah.
taxes. Like people, like people can know. But like, yeah. But Landon said the same thing. He wanted to do Thai boxing, just like you said. That's what I said. Hey, me and
man.
Bodhi gonna go there.
Hey man, we should all do it. We should all do it. I think in 2021, because I mean, I have the money to do it now. I can go there now, really. I just want, for myself to, see what I can make happen in the winter in Maine. Because I was telling you pre-podcast, I got into this phone sales job, and
Yeah,
I
sure.
want to
Go
see
ahead.
if I have any balls to, make money like our friend Dread Game, because Dread Game is killing it, like 40, 50,000 a month in mortgage sales, which is insane.
Okay,
And
dope.
I'm like, I think I could do that. No offense, Dread Game. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
I don't
very
know. I want to see
inspirational.
what I
Yeah.
could do in 3 months.
Yeah, that's dope
Yeah,
to hear.
that's very inspirational.
It's also inspirational
And he
for
made his millions off AMD. He invested in AMD,
yeah, yeah,
which was
yeah,
like
yeah. No,
$2, and it
and he
rose
just
to
gives
like
that he gives that away.
$50.
Yeah, he gives that away on the timeline. I mean, that info that he like invested in that, and that was his come up. I think he just
Yeah.
he said he went long on this stock that you just
Yep.
mentioned. He's constantly saying that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty dope.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. Nonstop. Our fellow Asian brother.
Yeah,
AMD, baby.
yeah. No, it was actually very inspiring because Dread Game. What most people you mentioned that he's Asian. I actually forgot that for a second because now he
Yeah.
has like this Metal Gear Solid thing, or he still has it. I know he had it.
Yeah. With the
But
Santa hat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But oh, now he has Santa hat. Everybody does a fucking Santa hat. This is what I mean. I see a fucking
Big
Santa
bitch
hat.
right
I'm
there.
thinking cringe. I'm not gonna do it. This is like the outlier thing. Like people, Santa hat, Santa hat. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna put a fucking Santa hat on my photo. That looks stupid.
Nah. Yep.
But what's funny about Dread Game, I saw his face, and he was like,
All
"Yo,
right.
brother, yeah." On the timeline, long ago, before when he was a small guy, he was like, "Yo, brother Fury, you're Asian. Are you what did he say, Vietnamese or something?" Like that. I said, "Nah, my father, he's from this and there, in Southeast Asia." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Uh, and then we started chatting. That was like just the first touch, but then I knew, hey, this is a really cool dude. He's very representative of the Asian community, coupled with like this inspirational tinge, which you just like clarified how he's making these like big moves, specifically with like because he also has like coding experience or software. He built his own computer. I saw that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And but that those high ticket closing sales skill is something for the youngster listeners, like bros, invest in a skill. Don't be like me, at least. Like I did some other stupid shit. Just invest like in high income skills and just practice it. If you do something for 10 years, something must come out of it.
True. True. So what do you think about the civilization breakdown? Because I think it's very apparent in the West, in America, but you're still in the West in Europe. You're still in Western Europe.
Yeah.
So how do you feel it's affecting it there compared to here?
What I have this like what just came in my head, like a heuristic. So now the clubs are closed, but what I like to, how do I say this? Like I have a very psychological insight into the human population, where the nightclub scene or the nightlife scene is a mirror to society. What I mean by that, people can play niceties to me at work at day, but as soon as the lights dim, they get racist as motherfucker with these in groups and shit like that in the nightlife scene. That exposes the more fragile sides of society. So, but there also you can spot this, what you described as like some form of like fall of the society, like this degradation, this degeneracy. So, for example, like where I live in Western Europe, they drink a lot of alcohol on a daily basis. For example, like 10% of people, they, even when they're home in lockdown now, they're like swooping bottles by themselves, and so they're very alcoholic. And if people think like, fear, you're heavy boozing or like that, people are worse than me. Can you fucking imagine that? Because when I have to go to work or I have to write a fucking email, I'm not touching the sauce. I'm not fucking the fake mythologized Hemingway. He even didn't do that, by the way. When he was sober, he wrote fucking sober. That's where all his fucking stories came from, you people. But also, what I like to call women are the mirror to society as well. You can definitely see the tawdry, the fucking tawdry, the fucking hedonism and the hoism, no knock on promiscuity, but I can smell from that, not pun intended, via these women that there is a very degenerate wave going on. And Western Europe loves to mirror America. So I can only imagine how it is going on there, and it doesn't look pretty, because for example, we're talking about those body counts of some women, how normalized it is. I was talking with my bro as well. Yo, this girl, like, he asked her like, what's your body count? She like straight up says like 30 to 50, like she's ordering breakfast, you know? Like, yeah, I don't care. Like,
Mm.
like she's ordering breakfast, you know? Like, and
Well,
I
30 to
have,
50.
huh?
Like nothing. She said it like nothing.
Yeah, you know. And then what's because I'm like I studied math like in university. I'm like a logical person. I keep a straight face. So I'm like, okay, like, what's your first age? What age did you like first got a guy? And they'd be like, she's telling X age. Then I said, oh, you're now X age. So this means like total 30 to 50 in all these years. So, and then what's funny, I have like this pause, and then she comes to the own conclusion by herself. I don't say anything. She's like, oh, that's only 3 a year. Oh, that's only 5 a year. And, yeah, and in my head, I'm going like, yo, bitch, did you just say that? You know, like, if you run the numbers, you know, like, it's only 5 a year.
Run the numbers, bro.
Yeah, I run the
Run the
numbers.
numbers, baby.
Huh?
No, that's true. That's completely true. I mean, I saw this meme the other day where it's like in 1970, all these chicks were like 50+% of chicks were virgins until marriage, and now it's like 10%. And then it was like delineated via green, red, yellow, and it's only getting worse via time, and it mirrors the decay of civilizations like Rome, where hedonism was apparent more in the decline. So it's like you could see that there's a decline now, and people are trying, like socialists and communists are trying to say that it's not a decline when it's quite apparent it is.
This is my favorite moment because I wrote it down because I knew Bodhi was gonna go with this. He like sometimes in the DM says that Roman cultures and like these like massive empire kinds of cultures, when they have full of excess in anything, they decay into certain behaviors like these like homo type, like these homosexual type of behaviors. Can you explain this very interesting theory? Like a lot of guys love it because it's so intuitively it feels right. It's like, yeah, shit, they always go to like homosexuality. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think Julius Evola talks about this a little bit, honestly. But to be real, a friend of mine, a Russian friend, who it turned out later was just a complete piece of shit. But he was just a pathological liar, sociopath. And when he was a teenager, and we were like 18, 17, 19, he was fucking the hottest girls in high school. He was getting all the hottest chicks with the fattest butts and the prettiest faces. And then we all found out later he was on some gay shit. So it's like, and Evola's thing is that excess hedonism leads to homosexuality. And I found in my personal relationships with friends that I thought were cool dudes, that they turn gay from excess hedonism. And it's not just pussy, it's also, drugs, coke, whatever, opioids, heroin, Oxycontin, everything, weed and alcohol. And these dudes that you think are killing it with the bitches, they are killing it with the bitches, but they're also killing it with the dudes and sucking dicks. Because once you get, it's like, let's see, what was it? It's like the Naraka world. I forget how Alan Watts explained it. Once you reach heaven, the only place you go to is to reach hell. So like in the Roman age, at the peak of decadence, after their peak, they would bring in like the most beautiful slave girls, garlanded with flowers, into the Colosseum. And then they would have a bunch of lions open the gates and eat them for nothing, for pure sport. And that's just peak hedonism. After, like, once you have all these brothels open to the general public, open to every low class, middle class person, and you have the Colosseum open to this type of debauchery, then there's nowhere to go other than the darkest hedonism from the highest light and the highest pleasure. It's to the highest pain. So it's a circle. It goes back to yin and yang and these sort of Buddhist terms, these universal terms. So I don't know. It's very interesting to me.
It's interesting as fuck. The second you told me, it never escaped my mind because it also seems so very logical at the same time because they're so satiated
Yeah.
and bored, yeah, in the sense like, yeah, let me try this homosexuality, let me suck some dick, you know. It's so crazy, man. I wrote down some. Yeah, it had to be said on this podcast. You know, pretty sure like a lot of like the topics that I'm discussing, like pretty like I don't know, people get banned on YouTube. I'm not. I don't know. Let's. But nah, it's a safe space. That's why Tate came here to the YouTube as well. He can say more here on YouTube than on Twitter. You know, because he got banned like 4 or 5 times on Twitter. He had like 6 accounts or something.
Yeah.
And but his YouTube like pretty like he says
Who
the
got
same
banned?
shit. Twitter, like Tate, he got 6 accounts or something. Yeah, this like off Wudon is maybe his 6th or 7th. Like I knew him all the way back in like 2015.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know that, and
He's got a lot of he's got like 40K something followers. No, how many did he have when he was banned?
so
More
bro.
or less?
Oh, I don't know if you know this, but Tate, Emery Andrew Tate Jr. was a verified account. He was beefing with J.K. Rowling. Did you not know this?
Oh shit! No, I didn't.
It's hilarious as fuck.
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
And we were just watching it, like, because it's so hilarious. It's Tate, you know, he says the same shit, but with these like celebrity types of people. Even if I think about it, like, it brings back such good memories.
How many followers did he have at that point?
I don't know, man. More than now, I think. Like, you know what would have like these, like, maybe add a lot more stuff, maybe 100K kind of things. He just had a lot.
Oh really?
I don't know. Or maybe he had like, or maybe he was like a verified account, but like with 50K, maybe not 100K, but 50K.
Yeah.
Maybe. But he kept losing them, and so when I see his followers, it doesn't mean that much to me as to how much he can get, you know, because he just kept losing them. And,
Yeah.
But no, it was funny. Like, for example, you know, like J.K. Rowling tends to be very leftist, and she would be then saying something, yeah, what very something left, something very social, you know, socialism. She would say something like that, and Tate would be like, no, that's some gay shit, you know. You know, like, or oh, his famous one, I think maybe that one got him banned. Depression is not real. You know, he just tweet that, and J.K. Rowling be like, no, that's not true. And then he's like, the only reason you hate Donald Trump is because you're in love with him. You know, Tate gets plugged along on my like YouTube channel. You know, he's not paying me. I'm not fucking endorsing him affiliate, but it's just like he says his shit, and if he gets bad, he's like, "Fuck you guys! I bought Bitcoin. I'm with my bitches." You know, like that. That's I don't know. You can respect that in some way. Like he says whatever the fuck he wants, you know. And if he gets bad, I'm like, yo, I'm out. I'm playing Aikido with my brother. You know, that's some respect. Though,
yeah. I respect that.
There's something that I encircled in my journal that I have to ask. What is the Gray Jedi? It must be told.
Yeah. Well, that circles back to sort of the Sigma thing we we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like well, Samuel L. Jackson was the Gray Jedi, wasn't he? He was the Gray Jedi, and so was what was that other dude? Fuck, I forget his name.
What does he look like?
He was like a white dude, like sort of like the Ethan. No. Ethan Hawke. No, not Ethan Hawke.
Ewan McGregor. You mean Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Ewan McGregor. Yeah.
Was he like a great Jedi?
Actually, I think he was a good Jedi. But I think the you know the guy in where he saves his daughter, that guy who's like he's in those movies where he saves his daughter who gets kidnapped.
Liam Neeson, Taken.
Liam Neeson, yeah.
Oh, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, I think he and Samuel L. Jackson were both great Jedi.
Okay.
And what they were like they were powerful because they could dip into the dark. They could dip into the dark, but they could also dip into the light though. And they weren't fully accepted by the council, but they were accepted by the council as very powerful. And when Samuel L. Jackson's character killed the the powerful Sith Lord or whatever. He was about to kill him with the Dark Force until Darth Vader came in as young Anakin Skywalker and fucked him up on some sneak shit.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, he would probably maybe have been the most powerful motherfucker in the universe, or at least top 5.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show the power of skirting the edge, skirting the line, being on the edge of that coin between good and dark, and how switching between the two is not detrimental to you. It's actually beneficial. So Sigma is following your code, and to some people at any point in the day, even though it may be honorable to you at all times, from another perspective, it's not. You're gonna be a complete piece of shit to somebody else, and you're gonna be a hero to somebody else. And you gotta accept that, understand that, and be willing to cross the divide and cross the Rubicon towards dark or light as the situation dictates and necessitates, so that you could get your honor and your upaya and your Tao flow done.
That's beautiful.
I think that's the big summary of a Sigma.
Yeah. Yeah, you tied it up very nicely with that crossing the divide, crossing the Rubicon. It was put very eloquently. I think that's what at least you and I try to do on a daily basis, navigating these waters, these murky waters of like this fucking degenerate society sometimes, yeah, like what you just said about this integrating the shadow came to mind, a little bit. The Jungian concept, like integrating the shadow.
Yeah.
What in the last podcast with some more, he called it shadow work. And especially these more esoteric, spiritually inclined cats like you and me, we tend to do this more, how do you say this? More naturally, because like you have to face your past, face your demons, accept your upaya. But I think, a little bit like for the noobsters then, like, so they're hearing Sigmas, they're hearing Grey Jedis, and like this integrating of the shadow, as I like labeled it a little bit, maybe too abstractly, but what can it offer for them? Like they're always like, what's in it for me? Why do you think it necessitates for the normal human being to tip more into the dark than they are inclined to do by themselves?
Well, I think it's two different questions, because you asked why they want to be Sigma and why they would want to dip into the dark. I think those are two separate things, but I think being more pulled toward the Sigma type is more towards a very specific narrow niche of the population, like maybe 5-10% or less have that potentiality due to their childhood and upbringing, whereas dipping into the dark is available for everybody. So
that's true.
The part about dipping into the dark is so many people are acting for other people's approval and other people's pleasure rather than for themselves and their own growth and their own benefit. So they're not dipping into the dark, not because they don't have that potentiality and that archetype doesn't exist within their DNA, because inevitably, since evolving from a fucking amoeba in a single-celled organism all the way to them, there have been numerous people that have been savages along the path and eating other creatures and doing the most savage things. It's just that the latest incarnation of that DNA are pussies, which is something to be ashamed of. So they should dip in more to the dark rather than being bitches, because that's just the genetic dead end. But as far as the Sigma thing goes, that's more on an environmental basis, on a genetic base, like we are, like, Asians in a society that doesn't work for us, or half Asian like me. It's like, okay, maybe we don't have to dip into it as hard as somebody who's been a complete and utter loser and desolate hikikomori in Tokyo, being off his 70-year-old mother, like eating ramen noodles and like jerking off to hentai. But like maybe
married to his fucking pillow. These motherfucker. You fucking hikiko.
Maybe you're not that. Maybe you're not there, but maybe you're between that and the Sigma ideal, and you just need to look yourself in the eyes, look yourself in the mirror, see your soul, look into your own soul, stop being a bitch, and just act on what you need to do, which is what you fear. Act on what you fear. Go into what you fear. It's like Batman in the Christopher Nolan movies.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? He created those little bat shuriken.
Yeah,
in the image of bats. Bat, yeah. And he he created his whole image based on what he feared. And that's one of the deepest things in that movie that people don't even understand. Like, he created his whole fucking image based on what he feared, and that's how he became such a complete savage that owned Gotham. Owned Gotham because he based it on what he feared. He fought through that. People need to do that.
I want to tie a little bit into this, like, so Batman is the personification of integration of shadow. Like, he took his fear, his biggest fear, he integrated literally in his body. He became the Bat. That was really fascinating. And I want to tie this a little bit to transformation, where I'm going with this. So yesterday I put out a tweet that has been in my mind a lot, but I saw 2 beautiful photos from Zack Snyder because he's promoting the director's cut of Justice League. I saw a beautiful photo of Batman where he has this, like, the God armor where he fights against Superman in Batman versus Superman. And this beautiful photo of Gal Gadot as Diana Prince Wonder Woman. And then I put out this tweet: if you want Wonder Woman, you have to be Batman. And again, this was but this was taken so fucking literal by these fucking retards. Even the most smartest motherfuckers on Twitter would be saying shit like, "Give me Catwoman," or "I don't give a fuck about caves." And I was thinking, yo, there must be smarter people on the fucking Twitter sphere, especially. I was playing and catering to this archetype. Like, Bruce Wayne, as a boy, he wanted nothing, like Bodhi said, to become a man. And this man, this personification, this man who walks amongst the gods, amongst these other gods, such as Diana Prince, is Wonder Woman. He can even fuck this bitch in certain timelines of the comic books and, like, the cartoons. If you want to be the pinnacle of yourself, like a self-actualized human being, you have to go through fucking lengths that is personified in, like, okay, it's just a story, but it's the pinnacle. Like, this guy, he's fucking jacked, he's fucking rich, he can fight, he's fucking loco, and he integrated his shadow. So it definitely, like, there's a strong potentiality for any human being to tap into their fears.
That's true. Yeah, that's definitely true. I could see that.
So what are you thinking, man? You spacing out, or, like, you still here with me? You got some good shit, or what? You want to wrap it up?
I got some good shit, man.
Or what?
I got some good shit, man. Okay. If you got some good responses, I got some good shit.
Okay, shoot me, hit me with one.
So, what's your thoughts on have you ever seen Samurai Champloo, the anime?
Is that where they actually fight Musashi? He comes in it, like.
Yeah, he's like Musashi is fishing in it. He has those fucked up teeth, and you never know that it's Musashi, but it's really Musashi. But he's not one of the main characters. They don't fight him.
Yeah.
They fight like everyone else who's powerful, and the most powerful they fight is Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And then he steals the girl, and he's about to throw her off the cliff. And then
I haven't watched all the episodes. Then I've only watched tidbits.
All right.
Okay, but what's the question? Right. If I watch,
no, it's not gonna work if you haven't watched it, man. It's not gonna work if you haven't watched it. What's up? Have you seen Samurai? What's the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
Afro Samurai.
Have you seen that one?
Both of them, yes.
Both of them.
There are 2. There's a sequel.
Really?
Yeah. The sequel, no spoilers, goes back to his childhood a little bit. It feels like a typical sequel that they want to milk it out. But it's a okay-ish sequel.
How many episodes is that?
Almost the same. It's, very, like, the first season was tight as well, so the second was tight as well.
Yeah.
But go on, what's the question?
How do you feel like that the samurai ethic from that ties into your life and modernity as far as the Ronin ethic? Like, obviously your parents weren't killed, but you're still living a sort of Sigma lifestyle, a sort of Ronin outsider lifestyle. How do you feel that that sort of ethic fits in for you? And because I'm curious, like, you're in the Netherlands, you know, I have no idea how to speak French and be in that sort of culture. How does that sort of ethic fit into your country and how you live your life within your framework and your culture?
Okay. So yeah, like I already told, like in this podcast that I told many times from Netherlands, but it's, how do I explain this? Like usually the narrative actually, like what's interesting about the Ronin narrative, when they meet me in a different country, they would hint at my English accent that it's Scandinavian or something Western, but they would never smell on me that I'm Dutch, for example. And what this clues into, in my opinion, is that it's not per se that I'm born in the wrong place, because I've been given gifts here and blessings, like I mean like education, stuff like that. I'm educated, but the it's just a big clue for me that if you put me somewhere else, I fit just as easily. And this wandering aspect caters to the rest of my personality and how I grew up, and absorbing certain types of book that I go on about always. The Jack Reacher series that I love. This guy travels to America a lot, and he's basically like a bum, but he can fight and he swoops chicks. It's like a typical action shit. But for me, it fits so well because when I traveled in Europe, I felt kind of free. And every time now, for example, I went to like Aftoyutet is my bro from Twitter, and I went to his wedding actually. Like a lot of people know this because they saw the wedding photos, but he invited me. But I just want to say, the second I got on the train to go to him, I felt free, and just for a few days, it felt as if that's how I'm supposed to live my life. I'm sitting there on the train, and suddenly I'm snapped into focus. To tie it back to that concept of present moment awareness that you said, that is so pivotal to accessing your soul, your true being. Every time I'm in a train, I have just one bag. And I also think if I lose my bag with all these belonging in it, I don't give a fuck because I have the clothes on my back. I have like my passport or whatever, I'm good to go. I have my mind, I can get out of it. I'm thinking it feels so liberating. It's very much like that Fight Club saying, the shit you own ends up owning you, without sounding too nihilistic. It just fits me because of the things that I like. Like for example, apparently I'm not that well committed relationships then, or I don't like to work a normal job because these people are fucking annoying. I just like to sightsee new places because my brain gets bored that fucking quick. I like to see novelty, and some type of exotic girls I like more. You know, and it's very, how do I say this? It's very adventurous. It ties back what you said, Bodhi, that you just want the adventure, the spirit, and I know I saw myself a lot like those iconoclasts like Hemingway and Charles Bukowski. That people were like, "Yo, bro, you must have read them a lot," and I'm like, "Yo, I have like a surprise news flash. Never read anything of Charles Bukowski, and be like, oh shit, but he must have rubbed off on you," and I'm like, "Yeah, but." It's just what I meant with the narrative that just keeps perpetuating, and I'm just plugged into it. I'm like, hey, this is Fury, another retelling of this archetypical musing since the dawn of time, basically. And I think it just fits me. It fits me more than the next person that I would pluck from the street because of my personality, genetics, and propensities, my likings. Yeah, that's the full answer I can give.
I feel you, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah. What? Are you boozed up?
Wow.
Your emotions are like a little bit slow, like. Or are you
Yeah,
on
man.
something? Are you on psychedelics or something? Like every guest loves psychedelics. That's why.
Oh, really? No, I just drink a little whiskey. That's it.
Oh, I actually had a question that I want to ask you. Like, Bodhi loves to play chess, right? We can share that with the audience. Like, because sometimes
Yeah.
at the end you can like call out your on chess.com your handle, and somebody like like who listens
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna challenge it. I'm gonna challenge it.
Yeah, they don't want the smoke, bro. They don't want the smoke. Like, nobody's really good on Twitter.com. I mean, a few people I've let them beat me, but it's because I'm not really trying. But
Yeah.
I think I beat Deeper Thrill. I beat um absolute freak. He beat me a couple times, but I wasn't trying when I beat me. And nobody could touch me on Twitter, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah.
Maybe Lobo. I think Lobo is like 1600, but I don't think he plays really.
Lobo.
So yeah, Lobo. I think I saw like a long time ago, like a year ago,
Hmm.
that he was really good, or maybe someone else. But
Yeah, it would fit him
I
because
know Tate is really good.
Tate
But
is close to like a master level because the guy he made like the chess course with. If you Google that guy's name, that guy is a certified, I think an IM, like an international master, and
oh really? Yeah,
he
yeah,
played
yeah.
with that guy to draw level. He
Yeah,
says,
he hired him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
So
hired him to train him. Yeah, it's
yeah,
cool.
so yeah. No, but what was it like? You schooled at Lattimore, right?
Oh yeah, I schooled at Lattimore. I mean,
Yeah.
I I wasn't really trying the last few games. He beat me, but I started out like 8-1 against him, 8-2. And you see in his bio, his profile, it's like, hey, I'm a chess player. You don't see that in my bio, baby. But I defeated him
Yeah.
soundly. Like it was destruction. It was like it would be like if I boxed him,
Yeah.
it would be that bad. So hey Ed, if you want a rematch, come see me. You know where I'm at. We're friends on chess.com.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's, yeah, it's just like one of those early funny like trivia's that you told me. You were like, yeah, I play chess, and then you're like, yeah, I beat Ed Lattimore. I'm like, oh, but Ed Lattimore has I'm a chess player in my bio. Like, like I have to say it's one of those things about how do you say like being like ninja, being very private person. Like some things we don't put in our bio, so to say, because
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be said, or you do it.
pretty much. It's like when you see a dude who's like millionaire or pussy slayer or I got hands, it's like, well, would you beat Kamaru Usman in a fight? Would you if you looked at like Mystery Man, I don't know if you're aware of that pickup artist, like
Yeah.
would you pick up more chicks than him?
Yeah.
Or would you beat Gary Kasparov? It's like, why do you need to flex that shit? It's better when people find out by themselves, I think,
Yeah.
as opposed to like you bragging and then people see you and it sort of brings you down because you don't live up to it.
Yeah.
Or whereas if you don't know, like I don't tell people I used to play competitive ice hockey with
Mhm.
like future pros and D1, but then if I invite them to ice skate, they're like, oh wow, you could really ice skate really good.
Yeah.
It's more of a surprise, like takes them by surprise. That's better. Or if
Mhm.
you're on Tinder and you're posting blurry, shitty pics, and then you show up in reality and you're way better. I feel like that's better than, you know, taking HD, like hiring photographers, like, oh my God, blah, blah.
Mhm.
It's like, I like to surprise people. I don't
Yes.
like to brag about it and then not live up to it. I would rather present myself as lower and then exceed the
Yeah.
expectations. I think
Under
that's
promise, over
more
deliver,
fun.
like we say in
Yeah,
marketing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
It works really dope. Like that thing you just described about peeling the onions of the layer of you as a character, so to say. It reminds me of this part in Book of Pook. Like a Book of Pook is like this cult dude. He has this pickup, or nah, it's not actually. It's more like a
Yeah, the
masculine.
smiley face thing.
Yeah, yeah, but it's more like a masculine. It's not really like a game book because he doesn't say how to text and stuff like that. But he really zooms in your character, so to say, and he talks about it as well. Like women want to constantly know about you, and then he says they can never catch up to the Pook. If they think I'm a cowboy, I'm also a coder, but Pook is also a swimmer, is a lifter, and they're constantly peeling something, and you're not saying it, but they see from your doings like, oh, he has another layer, he has another layer, and they're like really drawn into that, like, and then they start just chasing it,
Yeah.
and they're like, and they. This is a famous game heuristic. They say the women wants to fuck it out of you, and like tying it a little bit like to game for me then, so to say, and tying it to my transformative years. How do I say, like, when you meet somebody for the first time, it doesn't matter if it's a man or woman, you always say what's your name, what's your age, and what do you do, or something like that. Very small talk, like basic shit. and from the
Yeah.
and from the get-go, in an interaction with a woman, she does not know what my real name is. She does not know what I do. She does not know my age. It's like fury. I don't know. I come from a fucking secret samurai village, and I'm 300 years old, and it already sets up a certain potentiality that you're like, what? Why are you doing this to me? Like, I just want the fucking answers. And then they're like, like clawing into me. And I'm like, but I'm legit like that. Like I told you, like with this privacy thing, I'm like, no, bitch, you're gonna call me Fury till the end of days until maybe we have some kids or something. Then the kids can call me
Yeah.
like, like.
I don't feel like you even owe anybody any details. You
It's
don't owe
especially
people details
that's it. And yeah,
until they give you themselves.
yes, that's beautiful.
Especially women. Women feel like you, especially in this culture where with all the feminism and socialism, communism, and deep soy state,
Yeah.
and all these people eating soy,
These fucking commies.
they feel like like they deserve that before they give any part of themselves.
Yes.
And that's complete bullshit.
This
It's completely counter. It's completely counter to what's been going on for thousands of years. And it's just a manifestation of deep-seated collective insecurity on a sociological scale, in my opinion. It's grand scale, and it's not good for the human race, because the human race, like, there's women and there's men. They to uplift each other in harmony and reach the highest level, there has to be a certain harmony. There's no harmony now, especially in the West. So, I think we got to get over all the deep soy, eating soy, drinking soy, fucking soy, all of it.
Yeah, but it reminds me, like what you said, like you said, like it's a deep rooted thing on a sociological level. But I like to like leave my audience with like something like optimistic, like in the sense, how do you feel then that there, in your opinion, is like some form of solution that we're moving away from this like darker time periods, this darker Kali Yuga-esque age, to more the golden age potentially? What do you think are like the solutions besides stop eating soy, swooping soy, fucking soy? Besides all that, what do you think is like more?
Well, I mean, immediately, I think you
Or
got to
maybe on a
stop
longer
swooping
scale. Yeah.
Stop swooping soy. No. No, I'm just playing. So yeah, I think it starts with the individual level. You just gotta focus on your own, right? Like people don't like it sort of goes back to JP. People can't take care of their own affairs. People can't raise their own children. On a lower level, they can't even clean their own room.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk shit about massive corporations, massive sociological trends, socioeconomical trends, political trends. And they're trying to predict the exact date when the global economy is going to collapse due to XYZ. Bonds are failing, futures are failing. It's complete bullshit. It's just all ego based. And I think people just really need to get back into their own selves and focus on shit that they can control, because they can't even control their own families a lot of the time. They can't even control their own souls. And they're trying to tell people about what global politics and global economics and shit like that. It makes no sense. These things are on a scale of like thousands of times. They're infinitely more complex than your own life. You can't even control your own life. And you're trying to tell people with a definitive tone of voice about the shit. Fuck off with that bullshit, man. It's like, focus on yourself, focus on your own life. Once you have that in order, then we'll start to maybe think a little bit about what you're saying on the broader issues. And I think that's what most people need to realize, because you have all these people acting like fucking retarded hyenas that are injecting pure soy into their aortas, like talking shit about politics. Like, hey man, like liberals, the Republicans, blah blah blah. Like you don't know shit. You don't even know how to fix your own. You don't even know how to fill a gas tank. You don't know how to drive a car. You don't know how to clean your room. You don't know how to fix your kitchen.
You don't even know how to fucking wash your
Western
dick.
civilization.
Yeah.
It's like focus on the little things. Stop being so arrogant and egotistical. Focus on the little things and then work up. So many people are working down from up. And it doesn't work like that.
Sure. Yeah, that's dope. It reminds me of these cats that are like, what is it? They want to like go to Greenpeace or like Salvation Army, and they want to fucking save the world, but they don't even have a fucking college degree. You know, like
Yep.
they're like 50 steps ahead. They're thinking like gonna save fucking mankind, but you have to do it a little bit, in my opinion. Then not shipping Elon Musk, but he built himself up, and then he's thinking about more societal terms like bringing electricity, cars, going to the fucking moon, his SpaceX project. He's thinking about that from a societal point of view. Actually, I think he's trying to be more like a high vibe, high consciousness type of dude because he already transcended past those other things of like building a business. You know, he did that with his PayPal and other shit. You know, so it's definitely, yeah, just take care of your own shit. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, we've been going on along. You have some questions for me, or
Hmm. That's a good question, man. I got a lot of questions for you, but
for real? Fire off, fire off.
yeah, fire off.
Yeah.
Hmm. If there was one archetype that you would say you had to adhere to, that let's say we had past lives, right?
Okay.
And that we are all like, yeah, this is our like 20th reincarnation. What would you say was your 19th? What do you think would have led you to this path? Do you think it would have been like a samurai path, or like maybe a Roman legionnaire,
Yeah.
or a merchant, a
Yeah.
homeless person, a leper, a king?
Yeah.
What would you think would be your last life that would lead you karmically to this unique path, where it seems like very rare where people like we vibe on a certain level,
Yeah.
which is counterculture, yet we still have a lot of the tools to fit in.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think in this hypothetical scenario you
Yeah.
would have been like your past life?
Yeah. That's a good question. I haven't heard this one before or in a long time, but specifically in the context you put it, I haven't heard this question, I think, ever. But I tend to make a joke that in my past life I was Maximus, the gladiator, because of how good my Latin was. That's like a joke. But if I have to think about it, like what really comes naturally to me is like being some form of drifter traveler archetype, coupled with that I want to tell the story. So what you do when you travel and meet people, it's a story, but nobody knows the story until you tell it. And what comes to me and resonates with my soul when we were talking about those things. Every time I just sit down, I can give like these Shakespearean soliloquies about these things that I've done. And I haven't even told the internet or whatever the people my most intimate travel stories because those are just for me or people that I meet on travels. And it's just this, yeah, it's not per se the gesture, you know, in the court you have the court gesture because I'm not funny, you know. People don't laugh at me, haha, that guy's a funny guy, you know. Yeah, he's a comedian, you know. I don't know how to tell jokes. I have three in my repertoire and I can repeat them perpetually, but so it's definitely some form of like storyteller. I think then
Yeah, same with me.
something like that. Yeah, for you as well. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, I'm not a jokester, you know. I mean, I definitely know a fuckload of people that tell jokes way better than me.
Yeah,
You know, that's not my swag. I think you got to flow with your swag. So it's what we've been going on about this whole podcast. So,
yeah,
you know,
that's dope. Because it fits, you know. Like I tend to write stories on my email list. The tweeting are almost like microcosms of stories. Especially why they love my Telegram channel is because I'm just talking to these fucking people. And why do they love these fucking podcasts? Because now they see me orating, yeah, these things. So there's definitely something to it that, yeah, you know. So I think it must have been something like that. But there was definitely if I had a past life and it didn't fulfill, there was some karmic incompletion. So I have a lot of work to do, you know. Because yeah, sure.
I'm definitely gonna watch this one back, man, because there's a lot of gems in here that off the cuff you're not really explicating well. So I'm gonna watch this back and see where we fucked up, where we did good,
Okay.
and try to get some more insight from it, because I feel like we touched on a lot of good really good, like, topics that nobody ever really touches.
Yeah.
Like, because we're so counterculture that people just don't talk about this shit. So, I think
Yeah.
it's good. This is a good one to watch a few times.
That's actually true. Because like I tend to overanalyze things, and it would be dope to watch back my own shit to perfect my questioning and like what you said, like distillation, that we barely touch the surface of it, you know.
Yeah.
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 That's a
Like, look at
skill.
Joe Rogan. His first few podcasts were trash, probably. They were like in his room or whatever. And now he's like killing it, like absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious, fucking asking incisive questions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely take humility
What?
from that. Yeah, lots of things to learn. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, for sure.
for sure, man. For sure. Well, I think that was a great podcast, my brother. That was a
Yeah,
long. How long did we run?
yeah, for sure. Like now we're running 2 hours or more already.
Oh shit!
More than two
Wow.
hours. Like, do you want to have like some like closing thoughts for the audience? Then I'll just stop the recording and that would
Closing
be
thoughts.
yeah,
I
closing
don't know.
thoughts.
I can't think of anything. Do you have anything you want to ask me?
Mm, like usually I say like because you and I specifically we have like these youngster type of
Followers, yeah.
followers, like these audience. I'm not gonna like label that they're lost, but it's
No.
like words of encouragement, like
Mm.
inspirational, tied a little bit to like staying true to your own self and self-actualizing that. But what would you say to them in a like in a closed off manner, like, hey guys, this is something that I think you could do or take away from this 2 hour podcast, but in a nutshell.
That's heavy, man. That's a deep one, and that's maybe the most important thing in the whole thing to the people listening who listen to the end. But yeah, I would say there's a palpable energy of like knowing, like you have complete faith in yourself, whether it's hooking up with a hot chick,
Mhm.
or it's making money, or it's having a great day out with your family, or making some progress in your business. It's all the same thing. It leads back to this palpable feeling that I really can't describe. And I don't think anybody can describe it if you're being honest with
Mhm.
yourself. But it's this palpable feeling that maybe it's unique to everyone, maybe it's not. But it's this feeling of absolute certainty that you're going to get it done. And unless you have that faith in yourself and
Mhm.
that belief, you're not going to make shit happen. So you have to, and it's something that you could tap into immediately, by the way. It's something that I tapped into immediately, from complete desolation to tapping into that before, several times in my life. So I think, you know, um, figure out exactly what it is that you want, cultivate the utmost faith in yourself and getting it done. And this is something that I'm working on myself too, obviously, by the way, right? Like I haven't mastered this, but
For sure.
I've had tastes of it. I've had glimpses of it
Yeah.
more so than other people that are younger than me.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is you have to have faith. You have to palpably feel that feeling, and you have to instantiate that, live it, act it out daily until it gets done. And it'll
Yeah.
get done faster than you think,
Hmm.
as long as you act on it with courage and bravery and have faith in yourself. So do that and you'll exceed me, and you'll reach a lot of your dreams. But just as an addendum, most people don't. Just the harsh truth. Most people don't.
Yeah.
Because if you look out there, most people are failures. They hate
Right.
themselves, they hate their jobs.
Yeah.
But since in this community we're vibing a little bit higher, we're
Mhm.
vibing higher, we're
Yeah.
around millionaires, we're around right-wing hotties, we're around D1 athletes, we're around the CEOs, CFOs.
Yeah.
Since we're in this community, that gives you the opportunity to vibe a little bit higher. And
Yeah.
that'll take you to the next level. So take stock of where you're at. Don't think you are where you're at. Just think of your ideal, an ideal that you can believe in,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not going to make $100 million in a month, no matter how high
No.
you vibe. But you can get a date with a hot chick in a month. You can make more money than you've ever made in a month. You can get that job that you've never had, you know?
Yeah.
So as long as you believe in it, take that path and stick with it, my friend and brother, you will do well.
That's beautiful to hear. Actually, this like almost like a beautiful oration that you just gave triggered actually why long time ago I wanted to do this podcast at all, is so I can share in 2017 like these like deep questions were asked me. What would you do if you had all the money in the world? You know, have you ever heard those questions? You know, like
Yeah.
then it channels you more to your purpose. And so I basically said what was regurgitated in this podcast. Like I would just travel the world, meet the most interesting people on the planet, and interview them. And so come 2020, 3 years later, by accident almost, by flowing with the Tao flow, my upaya, so to say, and following my interests and my skill sets, I've been thrust upon with this leverage, so to say, of 10,000 followers on Twitter, my mail list, that I have more access to these things, that I get to talk with the strangest people on the planet and interview them and have these stories to tell, you know, this cool samurai, Ronin, Sigma, swag kind of dude. I would have never guessed that I would have meet them in the first place, but follow up to that, like talk with them, spitball with them, and like give proper insights to you, basically listening, you know. So that's a word of encouragement coupled to what Bodhi has to say. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. What do they always say? Like and subscribe. But for me, it's more just if you like listening to it, keep listening to it, and yeah, spread the word. That's what I like. And thank you. Thanks again. HOOA.